Friday night fix is ready, here we go. Watch me scramble to complete a 3-hour show. We'll talk about knives and what's on your mind. Never know what will come up this time. We vibe and we chill, including spirited debate, but we do it with love and never with hate. We'll talk about knives and what's on your mind. Never know what will come up this time. We vibe and we chill, including spirited debate, but we do it with love and never with hate. We vibe and we chill, including spirited debate, but we do it with love and never with hate. Friday.
Got the Scully in the house, it get cold in here. Open up the pack, crack open the beer. No fear, no tears, got the old 10 gears. Knew you been around, ain't been home in years. Had a hard day's work, it was easy for me. Javon, the beat hit easy to me. We talk about knives, it was EDC. It's the first 1, 2, 3. I don't know if you all been told it could get weird. So are you high on cigarettes? All right, ladies and gentlemen, Javon.
Lights go dark, the stream comes on. Javon's here, the vibe is strong. Click and clack, the steel in sight. Every edge sharpened, Friday night.
Knife flicks dance under the light. Blades that shine and cut so tight. Handles spin and edges glide. Friday night flicks worldwide.
The craft with steady flow, steel and story you'll wanna know. Flick of the wrist, how smooth it goes. Every frame a master show.
Knife flicks dance under the light. Blades that shine and cut so tight. Handles spin and edges glide. Friday night flicks worldwide. Karambit steel, every flick has that cool appeal. The chat goes wild when he reveals a masterpiece you wish was real. Viewers locked in, they can't resist. The flick of steel's a weekly twist. Carving moments, he makes it slick. Javon streaming, doing the trick.
Could we lift a little bit, but are you high on cigarettes? And when that stuff runs out, you're gonna wanna make it. Are you high on cigarettes?
Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Do you know that you're right or wrong? 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 He don't smoke them, but he loves it when you do. That's why he's high on cigarettes. And if you find him, you should light him up a few. He's getting higher.
Harvey, want anything special for your birthday? Just a decent cup of coffee.
You're kidding.
I'm serious. Honey, your coffee's undrinkable.
It's pretty harsh.
Well, so's your coffee. You know, the girls down at the office make better coffee on their hot plates. Well, see you later.
And he didn't even kiss me goodbye. You know, if I could just make a decent cup of coffee, I could relax. So, relax. Why don't you try Instant Folgers? Tastes good as fresh perked. Good as fresh perked? I'll surprise Harvey for his birthday tonight.
Hey, great coffee.
It's Instant Folgers. Doesn't it taste good as fresh perked?
Better.
Better than those girls make at the office?
Honey, they're...
Hey guys, I hope y'all can hear me. I have been battling the ever-loving nightmare roadcaster. Brown Sugar, can you hear me? Addicted to Blaze, can you hear me? Good to see you both. Marco, yay. What's up? I'm starting at the bottom, guys. I'm not highlighting anybody. Yes, thank you, Brown Sugar. Thank you, thank you. I can hear me, which is a good thing. That's at least half of the battle, but a lot of times I'll talk for a while and nothing will come out, and I'll be at the top reading down, and it doesn't work out well. What is up, Bubba? Good to see you, brother. I got a couple of cool things to show you guys, so stick around. Paul Mills, what is up, my man? Channel member. Good to see you, Paul. I hope you're doing well, brother. I see everybody saying hi to my buddy, Sire Shop. Where's she? Where's she? I'm going up. Blessed EDC, what's up? Welcome, welcome, welcome. And my 2 minutes was longer than 2 minutes. I apologize. There she is. What is up, young lady? Happy Friday. El Cap Addict, what is up, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to see all you guys. I've got to get another pair of glasses that are ones. I think these are 0.5s. I've got to get one more set up of reading glasses, or I've got to get a bigger monitor. And the reality of it is 1931 Leatherworks. Terry, who's always in my pocket today. And we've got a couple of cool guests coming on tonight. One who I've never met and talked to, and I'm looking forward to it. But I carried every day my 1931 Leatherworks little just 4-card and a money slot wallet he made that I asked him to, and he did an awesome job. And then I carried this one's stuffed full, but I did that on purpose. This is my Bullbuster from Great Eastern Cutlery. I'd gotten out of slip joints, and then working at Knives and More part-time has not been helpful. But I think I'm done. I think I'm probably... We've got 3 Avalons, ProTech Avalons, the knife that Sean Ashburn designed, the actor guy, cool dude, peace neighbor guy who was on Lefty's Live. If y'all want those knives, call down there and buy them. You can get them for as cheap as you can anywhere else. And they're 3 black with satin blades down there, and they are just awesome. Neil McKenzie, what is up? I say that, channel member, because if you buy Marco's a channel member, I've lost my place. If y'all buy them, I won't be tempted, because I'm very tempted to buy that knife. I've reviewed it. I absolutely love it. I think it's the best button lock. Why's Brown Sugar darker? Is she not a mod? No, she's a mod. Is it just my eyes? Bubba looks darker too. It's StreamYard, I think. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to make sure I've got everything under control here, and y'all are all... You're a moderator? Okay. But that the ProTech Avalon has a 4-inch Magna Cut blade, has a thin handle. It's about the size, a little bit bigger than the PM2, and it's got thumb studs instead of a flipper tab. And to me, it is the best ProTech manual knife on the Malibu, the Mordax, the TR3 with thumb studs. I think that's it. I don't have a camera, but that's just about all of them. And I can tell you that one is the bomb. The Avalon rocks. But we're going to have, and Bugsy is in the house. What's up, Bugsy? Hopefully Bugsy's going to stop by at some point, and we're going to have, at about 10 o'clock our time, we're going to have Burning Stable Ford, who I've never met. I've seen him. I say seen him. Hold on. I've seen him chatting in the YouTube creator group. I think that's where I became aware of him, because as you guys may or may not know, I'm not as plugged in as I used to be to knives and things that are going on, because I'm kind of doing my own thing and not working my corporate cush job. I don't have a ton of cash where I'm just out there buying knives, but I was spending some time today. He wasn't sure if he was going to be able to show up tonight. But I was going through his Instagram, and y'all may be aware of him. But I was looking at some of his blades. I don't know if y'all checked him out. I'm not going to hit the music because I don't know what it is. That's a little, looks like a horizontal the way they've got it set up. A little pocket dropper with his laser etching on there. And then I saw that little guy. I'm hearing feedback on my phone. But really, really cool stuff. And I just wanted to, he looks like a really nice guy too. I just look forward to kind of getting to know him, meeting somebody else, and finding out how he got into knives. And then, when he made the leap into, making it a hustle that he's doing. That's him right there. So he'll be joining us. New people that I'll be meeting. And again, you guys may know him. I should know him, but he's got some cool knives. And I'm stoked. Look at that grind. Every time my Instagram goes off on my phone, which is constant, it makes a crackling noise that's driving me crazy. Look at that. I guess that's etch. Let's see. Go for it. No, that's Damascus. That's 1095 and 15N20. I don't know if y'all had a chance to watch, and we'll pull that up when he gets here, but if y'all had a chance to watch Erica's latest video that came out yesterday, I really liked it. I hate to say it, but Erica's winning me over. And it's not because she was talking about Magnamax and she had one of Gary's knives, but she had other specimens too. But she was just talking about steel she didn't like, and she has the same feelings about, we're all steel snobs in our own way. I think I've told you guys. What is it? Is it Uncommon EDC? What's her? What's Erica's handle? Something EDC. What's up? Angry Tom next door. What is Erica? Kathleen, what is happening, young lady? Channel member. Erica's, it's something EDC, Notorious EDC. I think that's it. Hold on. And we won't watch it, but I'll share the link. Let's see if that's it. No, that's not her. What is Erica? Anybody in the chat know what Erica's, y'all might not know who Erica is. She does sharpening videos, and she does knife hardness test videos, cut tests, things like that. and she talked about the steels. She does not consider MagnaCut. I don't agree with her here. She does not consider MagnaCut a super steel. I consider powder metallurgy steels, even S35VN, S30, a super steel. I consider it that because it's using Erica EDC. Thank you so much, Kathleen Smith. You win. You win. All right, let's type it in here. And she had a really good sense of humor on this one, I found. And she'll probably say something that'll offend people, and I'll have to go on an apology tour, but I'm used to it. All right, so here's Erica. Y'all subscribe to her if you're not already. For years, she would do things that I didn't agree with. She'd call out creators. And she's I actually believe I've kind of bought into some of her takes, not all of them. We're totally different people. I'm going to take that, copy it. I'm going to drop it right here. Pedantic, they are very much. And I will agree with you there. That's why I used to, and I don't like to use the word hate watch, but, and Kyle and I have had this disagreement, and he's probably right that there's really should be no such thing. You just wouldn't watch those videos if you didn't like them. But I like to watch them to see what kind of stuff she's going to say, right? To see what her take is. For example, I watched her review the TRM Redline fixed blade. I think that's a great knife. It's a huge 20 CV chunk of camp knife, right? Well, she was whining about it being 20 CV. It was the wrong steel. And I watched her baton it on video into her concrete garage floor.
How's it going, fam?
Bitch about it chipping. And I don't think that's fair to do. But this is the video here. And she literally does not think, Joe Isabella and Cicero, are you in here? Who's come in? Joe Isabella, channel member. See, I hate sharing content. Dr. Drew, what's up, brother? Long time no see. I can't hang with you guys if I'm Cicero, if I'm sharing content. But we'll watch a little of this. Don't renew. Because I found it interesting.
And welcome back to Erica's EDC, and today we're talking about
fake. I don't agree.
Magnamax.
She loves Magnamax, by the way.
Magnamax is finally available to us peasants.
Is that too loud?
Yay!
We won't watch all of it. Because I'll probably buffer because my computer's going to do this and it'll drive me nuts. We'll see what it's going to do.
Stuff. It is a really cold, rainy day here in New Hampshire, so I figured I would do a 101.
We're going to just do this transformative short. All right, we're not, because she's going to lag one more time and I'm done with it. But she talks about how she thinks S90V, S110, S125, Magnamax.
What to use, right? So we're going to talk about what I think would be best for Magnamax today. I've been testing it for a really long time.
For sharpening.
Started out with the Proto X from Spyderco, then got my hands on the final batch from Aerosteel, which is what everyone else is getting now. In this little, I got mine in the Minnow from Gary Creeley, but let's get into it. So this is what I've noticed about Magnamax. It's the balls. It's awesome.
See, I like this. She talks about hype and things that have been hyped forever. And then there are things that actually, and we won't stay here, buddy, I promise. But there's a couple of takes. Again, am I wrong to think that a super steel is classified by it being a powder metallurgy composition as opposed to an ingot-based steel? Or do super steels become no longer super because something better's come along? I haven't thought of them that way. I know there are better things that come along, but check out these takes.
And, some things are hype train and then some things are actually really cool. You guys know I'm pretty neutral. Like, for an EDC...
And it could be the neck tattoo that's giving me calming new Erica vibes. It could be something as weird as that. So don't think I've lost it altogether.
Knife that I want to cut for a long period of time. You guys know I love my super steels. I love thin, hard geometry. But in a kind of like beater of a knife, or my outdoors knives, or my knives that I use to process like the dog food and stuff, I'll use anything as long as it's not shitty ass 1095. So I can really
Shane
get down
would
with pretty much
go
anything.
crazy there. I have 1095 on big knives. I've never had a problem with 1095. I was surprised to hear her take, knowing that she's kind of out there in New Hampshire. But that was a surprise that I heard. But we're about to get out of here. We're just going to listen to her classify and things that aren't super steels. And y'all tell me if you agree.
In terms of high performance stainless super steels, I've not been that impressed with the few options.
And I'm going to say one more thing, a little bit transformative. When she talks about the things that make up steel, I wish Kyle or Todd Carr were here because I think she knows her shit pretty well. She strikes me as someone who's put in the time. I could be wrong, but
that we've had for quite a while. You guys know I just don't get the hype around S110V. It's not a knife steel in the first place. I understand that. But it never really did anything for me. Like, I can use it, I can appreciate it, whatever, but it never gave me the fizz. It's just too finicky for me to like really bond with. So the only other like really, really high performance stainless super steel that we had for a while was like S90V, which I love. I never found it to be chippy. I never found it to give me issues.
I thought we had a lot more than S90V.
Never found it to have problems in sharpening and stropping. Granted, I always had mine through Spyderco. They did a great job, and I love S90V. But other than that, we haven't really had a ton of like stainless super steels. At this point, I don't think anyone's really saying that MagnaCut is a super steel. It's a very.
Has anyone that y'all have heard said MagnaCut's not a super steel? Is this the first time? One's in the chat. If this is the first time you've heard someone say MagnaCut's not a super steel, two's in the chat. If I'm an idiot, because of course it's not a super steel. I would say that everybody I talk to, not at the knife store, because we'll talk about my little psychological experiment shortly, but I'm not. Yeah, Bugsy, I've thought it's a super steel all along. I love MagnaCut.
Very balanced steel. It's a very middle of the road, easy to use steel for anybody. It works really, really well, but I don't think anyone's calling MagnaCut a super steel anymore. There just aren't that many stains.
Me too.
And I do not classify M390, 20CV, and 204P as super steel at all. They've always underwhelmed me. I just don't really care for them. So it's literally just been.
If y'all wondered what pedantic meant when you saw that comment earlier, pedantic is someone who's a sexual intellect. I'll let y'all figure what that is. Or someone who's very sure of themselves. This is a good example of a pedantic delivery of something like steels. Just to clarify, because I used to not know what pedantic meant.
Like S125V, S110V, and like S90V for the most part.
Exactly.
For high performance stainless super steels. Magnamax literally just kind of throws all of them to the side.
We're not watching this long. There are a couple of takes. A, she loves Magnamax. B, the thing that she was talking about, things that aren't super steels that I always thought that were, but she's about to drop some heavy powder metallurgy element. I guess you call those different elements, because there's a certain element that I forget what it's called, nicocrodium or something, that she doesn't like, and she starts laying them out. So she's classifying super steels in a way that I don't even think about them. So I'm gonna give her about another minute and a half. Then we're out of Erica land, I promise.
S90V, but like I would choose Magnamax over S90V because I find it to just hold a keener, sharper edge a little bit longer. Not sure why. I do. We don't know the composition yet. I believe it has double the carbide volume of MagnaCut. We do know that, but we do not have the composition yet, because
I didn't know that.
I think the patent is still being worked out on all that, so it hasn't been announced. But whatever the crap this.
But I believe her there. I have no reason not to think that we don't know that. I don't know.
is, we know it's got double the carbide volume of MagnaCut. We know that it's essentially a stainless version of K390 and 10V. We know that it's supposed to have around the wear resistance of S110V and the toughness of around S35VN, which was previously one of the toughest stainless steels available in a powder metallurgy form.
Here's where she starts dropping some facts. Then we're getting out of here.
From CPM. So basically, Magnamax is actually legitimately pretty cool. It's not like a hype thing. It's not like oh my gosh, we have to all have the latest and greatest. It's like actually really good. And through my testing, you guys saw that, because even with the Proto X, which had, I think, less chromium than the final product, this was nuts. I mean, we cut drywall with it. We left it out in a thunderstorm covered in lemon juice overnight. We did batoning with it. We tried to break the tip off of it. We did cut tests with it. Magnamax is nuts. This mule did incredible. And
I had no idea it was that tough. I had no idea that would be hard to break the tip off of with a properly heat treated Magnamax, but I know very, very little. So I found this kind of interesting. And she's about to get into the different compositions, then we're out.
And then, my little guy here in the final form from Aerosteel has just done insane. It is a scalpel. It's so easy to sharpen. Magnamax is, I think it's going to be amazing for EDC knives and hunting knives as well, okay? It's extremely stable. So I would very much I wouldn't have an issue bringing this into the field and processing game with it whatsoever. I would rely on it. But the most important thing is sharpening, guys, because we can talk about how cool it is all day. The sharpening and the stropping is important. So what I've noticed is that I can sharpen Magnamax on anything in terms of diamonds. I have played around with ceramic.
Her voice really bothers me. It's something about the not the cadence, it's the frequency. Like Cole, I don't know if y'all watched his video. He's at the beach. I guess they're down there for a little family trip. But he's walking down the beach and he's got his Cole voice, his normal voice, the voice that when I stayed with him, I know. It's this one right here, I think. Let's see.
Yeah, this is my Cole voice.
With a little reverb. But hers could benefit from a little voice altering because it kind of gets there, but we're almost done. I promise. It's longer than I thought. I would go forward, but I'm afraid I'm going to miss it.
Ceramics, Japanese water stones, etc. For me, I am just truly noticing that I get the best, keenest, finest edge off of diamonds with Magnamax. Luckily, it does not matter what type of diamond, stone, or plate you use. So I've very much spent a lot of time sharpening on electroplated diamond plates and bonded stones, okay? I have a ton of videos on the differences between these two. Essentially, an electroplated stone like this is just the synthetic diamonds blasted onto the surface of a metal plate. There's no binder. Whereas with a bonded stone, it is a bonding agent.
Bonding for the win. All right, we're about to go, Matt.
Together. This feed plate, like Rex 121. I highly suggest sharpening Rex 121 on some sort of bonded diamond stone. That way it doesn't chip during sharpening. Another one would be Maximate. This is another one where if you use a diamond plate that is too coarse or anything like that, you can chip your edge during sharpening. Another one is 15V, okay? Do you see the...
I am taking her as what she's saying as being accurate. And if it is, I think she's delivering very helpful content. And I found it impressive. And I know she spends a lot of time sharpening. And I know Shane has known her for years and can vouch for her legitness of actually using her stuff and knowing what she's doing when she's talking about some of this. She makes a correction down here. It says in her comments, I said chromium meaning carbon. The original Proto X had more carbon than the new Aerosteel batch. So she's even been correcting herself, I guess. I mean, I mess up saying something in every video I do, so I know you can easily misspeak.
Kind of the rhythm of things here. Anything that is really, really hard with a lot of carbide volume, and the carbide type being vanadium or tungsten or niobium.
All right, this is where she got me, so we're almost done. Niobium is something I've never heard about. She don't like it. So I'm gonna back it up just a hair.
Is another one where if you use a diamond plate that is too coarse or anything like that, you can chip your edge during sharpening. Another one is 15V. Okay, do you see the kind of the rhythm of things here? Anything that is really, really hard with a lot of carbide volume, and the carbide type being vanadium or tungsten or niobium. You catching the drift here? They don't respond as well to electroplated diamond plates because it causes chipping. Every time? No, but in a lot of cases. S110V, another one. These are all steels that people have had trouble sharpening because they're using the wrong abrasive, or they're choosing the right one, diamonds, but the wrong form. Okay, all of these steels here really benefit from a bonded stone because they essentially need that cushion during sharpening to not chip out because they're so hard and they have such a high carbide volume, and the carbide type is, they're very, very hard carbides. Okay, so some sort of bonded stone like this works
I found this stuff kind of fascinating. We're almost done. Count backwards from 20 and then we'll be out of here.
really, really well for those steels. Magnamax is not as finicky. I have put an edge, well, actually, the edge that this one has right now. This is a 325 grit edge off of an electroplated diamond plate from KME.
Okay, so what we learned is she really digs Magnamax. She's been impressed with it. I've not sharpened my little Magnamax blade. I'm still trying to get it and the MagnaCut to stop cutting paper cleanly so I can tell which one's going to excel and by how much. Again, I don't know if Magnamax is strong point is edge retention. I don't know all that different stuff. 5-door, what is up, buddy? What is up? So I found it interesting. You know, like I say, every now and then, agreed. I think that goes without saying. I've always stayed consistent in that thought that she was pretty nutty. Let me show you something that surprised me while we're talking about knives. So my buddies at TKL, I requested a couple of knives to check out. One I'm carrying today, it's the DP for Dale Peters, his father-in-law, who I think by now may have passed, but this is the DP2. This is a little sheep's foot blade as opposed to a drop point like the first one. It is an excellent package opener, cat food opener, little detail cutter. It's extremely sharp. The grind on it, even though it's a CNC step milled grind, is excellent. But the one that I'm most excited about that I requested is the Scout, the new TKL Scout. I'm trying to get this in my back pocket without stabbing myself in the ass. I'm trying to click it. It's the retention that'll get you. So this is the Scout. The Scout's built on the same platform as the combatant and as the adversary. So the handles are the same, but this is a sheep's foot also. And what makes this one unique in my mind, the blade, because it's a very tall flat grind, probably the sliciest grind in TKL's lineup, but it's also CTS XHP, which I don't think TKL's ever used before. And I'm a big fan of CTS XHP. And this guy again, step milled, and they don't grind them down where you can still see a little bit of milling lines in that. But the grind on it's done very well. I enjoy it because it's not as pokey stabby. It's kind of got a reverse Tonto, little sheep's foot design, but a very cool knife. I've enjoyed it. I just started carrying it. I carry it with an ulti clip in my back pocket. Erica Marco is Shane's type, and Shane really did he took the high road on that. Shane, I don't know if you were here, but we watched a really good video. I thought it was a good video. I set mine right here, Joe. I hope you find it. What's up, Burning Stable? He's going to be joining us later on, guys. I hope Shane can pop up. I hope we get a group of you guys up here. But another thing that surprised me was this knife. So this is the second Whiskey Jack I've had a chance to check out. This is a Kaiser knife. The first one they sent me was kind of a bougie copper Damascus that's very nice. It had a G10 and Makurta wood handle. This one's a little bit more of a worker. It's a AEBL blade steel with a G10 handle and a kind of a swirl micarta inlay, but it's just got a very neutral handle, pretty thick blade stock. But this little guy is a very cool small knife. The back of it is full tang, of course, but the back of it has a very over-exaggerated lanyard hole. The grip has a very nice choil, which is the only really swell in the grip. It's also got tight jimping right here. I like it so much better than the Damascus because I know I'm going to get to go out and beat on this knife. It's small, probably about 6.5 inches. If we were going to compare it to my Liang Ma that I carry today, you can tell it's a little knife. We got our first brother of the evening jumping in. Say hello to Bugsy Craftworks.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, let's see if when I remove my knives, if it makes you. I'm not going to take them away yet. I'll wait. But, the Whiskey Jack is a cool little knife, and it comes in, I think, under $60. And
What did you say the handle material was?
The handle material is G10 around the perimeter, and they call this Vortex micarta, and it does not feel very linen-y. It feels more like a caramel micarta, but I don't know how it's done. Those are inlays, but it's AEBL, and it's pretty thick, Bugsy. So it's a tough little knife, but I like it. I really do. I think it's cool. I know Metal Complex. I haven't watched any of the videos, but there's been a lot of talk in the YouTube group. He's been doing some spine whack tests on some knives that are failing. But I went and watched one of the videos today, and he is whacking them like 7 times, like this hard. And you can shake a knife loose. That's not going to ever happen in a real world situation. I think you can give it 1 or 2 little whacks to make sure it's not going to come loose, but you're going to damage your frame lock. You're going to damage your lock geometry if you beat it that many times.
So Holt had an issue a few times with some of their haptics that you can literally tap it on your hand a couple times and it would fail the lock.
That's not good at all. Yeah, see, that's something I think it should definitely be. All right, I'm getting some facts dumped. Not to interrupt you, buddy. Super steel is subjective, depending on what you want. Good point, Edgy. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Bugsy.
No, it's all good, man. I was just thinking to myself.
So they had a problem with it failing because something was probably funky with the geometry, right?
Yeah, well, I think it was when they yo, Kyle.
What's up, brother?
I think it was when they switched from the
Can you hear us, Kyle?
Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let me make sure I turn you up. Hold on. Talk again.
Yeah.
I've got you on the same channel as my music, so I think a couple of times I had you turned down lower than you should have been. I think I can hear you good now.
So I think when they switched from the frame lock to the liner lock, because this is adjustable, so like you got a lot of play there where you can, this isn't going to be a problem. But I think their haptic had an issue with the liner lock, and I don't know. I'm gonna have to assume they fixed it. I haven't. The last time I was at their booth, I tested it on my hand, and they laughed at me. They're really cool people though. Angie and I can't remember the husband's name now. But they're really cool. And
Joe?
they had yeah, is it Joe?
Joe Mama, Angie Daddy?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I think it is Joe. But yeah, they had an issue there for a little while. I don't know if I'm assuming they fixed it though. Those guys are pretty
well,
pretty on top of their game.
I know Michael did too at American Blade Works and was very out front about it and fixed it. And I think there's a difference when you have an issue with blade geometry and when you're dealing with like button locks or top liner locks and you rattle them. Kyle, when Chris Reeve does his final test before it goes in the box, they give it one good whack, right? Or do they give it several whacks? Do you know?
I can't speak on it. I know they do test it, but I don't know how many because it's hearsay and I'm not there, but right. I know it gets tested. But if you send a knife out into the open, and especially as a smaller maker, and you don't test the lock face and make sure it's good and doesn't lock up, then you have no business selling your knives. Because that's the most important part of a folding knife is making sure if you're selling a frame lock or liner lock, it better lock up.
And I agree with that. I agree with testing it under whatever normal stress condition, even if you hang a weight off of it going towards the way that it would normally operate. It's just when I see people banging them repeatedly on their spine, the spine whack test, that it doesn't seem like a knife would necessarily, I guess, good geometry, because I have knives that I can whack.
Get back in spine whack gate again.
That's what he's doing is spine whack stuff. Metal Complex.
Who cares?
No, nobody really, but evidently, I say nobody. I watched it today to see if he was really whacking it that hard, which he was. But it's the YouTube creator group has been talking about it. Most of them hate the spine whack test, but it's evidently because he's who he is, it's come to the Kaiser Facebook group. And there's evidently a lot of people that aren't as educated about it that are very concerned that their Kaiser locks, their clutch locks, their top liner locks are, not as good as other makers because he's put, a couple of bright lights on them. And
I just think it's positive that we have people testing things instead of just picking stuff up, put it in the box or put it in your pocket without even really thinking about it.
I don't disagree with you as long as they're doing the testing. That's how do I want to phrase this? As scientific as they can be, because nothing's perfect. No one's going to fund a double-blind study on any of this stuff.
That's kind of what I mean. It's kind of going to be like it's going to be a crapshoot no matter what. You're never going to get that kind of like
right. But here's one aspect that I disagree with is you can't take a sample size of one and act like you're hot shit and that you know everything. Like that doesn't float, right? So some people's attitudes on their testing of things and saying that they are the end all be all know it all on a certain thing is absurd.
Yeah, I think it should be prefaced as this one example of said item functioned this way.
I agree.
Unless you have multiple to test and you've done the same test,
and
then I think it's
should not come from the source of the maker or the manufacturer. It should come from third party to be able to truly get one that's just random, completely
out in the wild. Right. It came from out in the wild.
And if you want to get creative, then you would be buying several from different sources. That way there are different batches potentially. so that way you can test, what was one done in March of 2024, what was one in October of 2024.
Are they getting better? Right. Are they getting feedback and making improvements?
It's just a super difficult thing to do for a normal person, where you don't have the sample size that you'd really need to do something legit.
I don't
unless you're the maker, unless you're the maker yourself, which I think should be done more. I think the makers should be out there busting their stuff up on camera, like let's
They
see.
should do it on camera. I agree. I think they all have the testers. I think most of them have the equipment to carry it out because they put it in their spec guides and they could pull those numbers out of the air. But one thing, I've been following Taylor Hardness, the company that I still hate the letter that they sent out that makes them sound terrible. But what he's been doing every day is he just posts results. And some companies, most of his blades come from people like you and me that say, okay, I've got a Demco 20.5 and S35. I'm going to send it in to see how it tests HRC wise. And he prefers that you send the blade. One thing that I don't understand, I guess because shipping is a real thing, it costs Bugsy, Kyle, or me $10 to get our blade tested, which is really helping him build a database. I think that's a cost he should absorb, but that's just me. But there are companies that surprise me, like SRM. I've never experienced an SRM knife, but I know they're very budget and they're pretty popular. And they sent him, again, it came from the manufacturer, so you got to consider the source. But they sent him like 4 different models of knives and like 15 blades of each of the runs. So you're only getting one run of blades, but you're getting multiple from spots in the oven, I guess, samples. So as his experiment continues to get speed, or if someone more professional comes out and does something similar, I think there's a lot of hope for it. I think
so what I would say for that guy or anyone that wants to do something like that, if you truly want to be the best at it and or trying to be the most scientific you can without getting crazy, you need to have some sort of crowdfunding. And I hate saying that because I hate that premise, but if you look at other avenues, there was a guy goes back a decade ago called Battery Mooch. He ended up starting basically a Patreon. He was testing lithium ion batteries, 18650s, 18500s, 18350s, you name it. But he was going through and doing so many tests and buying so many batteries from different manufacturers and models. And he actually put out, links, charts, everything, that it made sense for him for the time and buying that to have people that were interested in those data points, actually pay to get that information.
Right.
I don't see that being any issue. If someone, it's the same as if you wanted to send your knife in to get tested, why not just send him $10 a month or whatever it is off of Patreon to fund actually going out and getting knives that are not sent in from manufacturers.
Right. I think there's so much. I like the AI for the way he's compiling his data once he gets it. I think the way he's testing it and calibrating his equipment, because it looks like they're two machines. I've only seen on the Taylor Hardness page his side of the testing, but there's evidently another gentleman that's testing on a different machine. Gary, you're sideways. You're horizontal.
What's up, Gary?
What's happening?
How are you, buddy?
No, not too bad.
It also seems that this gentleman is testing, because that type of machinery is going to be more likely at a lab. So he's testing at work. I don't know his position, if he owns the company, whatever, but the ability just to do in your free time seems like it's different than what his letter states and with the type of verbiage he was using. So I don't know.
I believe his machine is 1 point high.
I'm skeptical on the overall demeanor and professionalism of said individual. Do I think his machine could be highly accurate? And do I think what he's doing for people are good? Yes. I don't care for the way he's handling it. That's all.
I agree with that 100%. And I think that's a black eye that may be forgotten over time. But what's weird about that to me, and I won't beat on this dead horse anymore, but why didn't he take the time to write the letter? Why did he get this guy to write his thoughts and try to transfer them to a bunch of people in a
From the way it read to me was he wrote the letter, but the other guy was posting on his behalf because he wasn't on Facebook.
You're right. Okay. That's exactly how it went down. You're right. But yeah, that's and maybe he was frustrated, but you've got to be patient when you go down that kind of path, because I think a lot of the makers can benefit from that. Not everybody like Gary's testing their stuff, or like Shane's able to test their stuff, or if they are, they're putting their stuff down. And for most people, I think that's probably fine, because my social experiment at Knives and More that I do 4 hours a day for 4 days a week, I think I've had 2 people talk about blade steel. When they're looking at bug outs, their big question is, why is this one $50 more?
Well, and that's Knives and More's opportunity to inform them.
And we did. I at least try to, because most of these guys are engineers. They're not PCs that you think of that would frequent a store in Alabama. It's like they don't. Go ahead.
Look, having a hardness tester ain't no big thing. I'm on my second, and putting these charts out like this is something new it's not as revolutionary as I feel like some people make it out to be.
Yeah, there's plenty of people that do that. Currently, Brian's got a list. Cedric and Ada's got a list. There's multiple people who have lists.
When I send YouTubers knives that are going to like edge test them, I will hardness test them, circle it, and write on the blade in Sharpie what the hardness was.
Really?
Yeah.
So are you checking, Gary, like a batch? When a batch comes out, do you just do that as part of the process when you're putting together a final knife, or do you just do it?
I spot check.
Okay.
Because a modern vacuum furnace is, going to be pretty consistent.
Yeah, but how can you kind of trust what they're putting out?
Because I test it.
He's testing.
No, I'm saying, okay. If you test it separately, then yeah.
Yeah, what he's saying is
because I don't trust it. That's why I have a tester.
Well, have you ever really bumped into anybody that's just been testing really off?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like for instance, you can't really test on a bevel and get an accurate reading. If you test on a bevel without a fixture, that penetrator has to be at a 90-degree angle to the surface that it's penetrating. If it is at an angle, the depth of penetration will be different.
So your reading will be essentially off by quite a margin.
Could be.
What were you going to say, Kyle? I'm sorry.
Nothing.
He said that's what she said because I said penetrator, and I knew that somebody was going to say that. And if it were me, I would have said it if somebody else was saying it. But
so
anyway,
the thing too that people don't account for is just because you have how do I want to phrase this? It's not a difficult process to learn how to do it, but just because you have a machine doesn't make you an expert at it. Same as anything. If you have, just because you have the machine doesn't make you good at using it.
An operator, right? An expert.
Whoa. I get more expensive guitars because it makes me a better guitar player, and don't tell me any different.
I do
whatever you want to sell yourself.
Well, hey, if they make a better sound, then it's kind of right.
The point being is that it's not a difficult process, but you can still screw it up. And there are plenty of people that have proven that lack of testing your or changing out your testing block, making sure that the your tip is up to date and not difficult, or not damaged, excuse me.
Is that the little cone that goes into the material when you say
It's called the penetrator, boys.
Yes.
Flipper
Yeah, the penetrator. I did.
Just the tip. But yeah, so I mean, just people who don't keep up on that kind of stuff, it can vary your testing dramatically.
Conga.
If you're moving your machine around, a lot of times and not recalibrating, that can screw shit up.
Oh yeah,
it's very sensitive equipment, isn't it? When it comes down to it.
There's a certain YouTuber that was testing knives with a lead knife, with a lead tester.
Yeah,
and then
we all made fun of his ass too.
And then he got the world's cheapest Chinese tester, like a Grizzly style. Actually, well, it's all made in the same factory. The Grizzly makes, it's the same one Grizzly makes, but this other company sells it, which is a good testing company. But anyways, like I had it calibrated and then drove it 2 hours to my house. And I'm like, that's not how that works.
Holy hell. Dark Gravity. What's up, Tad?
Dark Gravity. Dark Gravity's got a link. He gets one. I try to give him one every Friday, but in his defense, he has a beautiful house and a beautiful family, and he partakes in the nicotine that he combusts, or he used to, and he does that from outside. So it's got to be kind of nice. Diamond penetrator. That's what she said. Good to see you, Dark Gravity. But yeah, the funny thing about the gentleman that had the lead tester, before I ever did my part-time social experiment at Knives and More, he is an engineer by trade, and he works for different defense contractors or somehow in the Defense Department. And once every 6 months, he frequents my hometown. And I never met him yet, but he stopped by Knives and More one Saturday because he was in town, and he spent 6 hours and 38 minutes. They timed it in there, handled every knife. This is a good sized store. He did buy a Benchmade Adrea, which was about a $400 knife.
They suck.
I don't like them, but he talked down. There's this young guy in there, Levi, who doesn't know a lot about, he knows a lot about big Medfords, old Medfords, classic Medfords, firearms. He's probably in his early 20s. He doesn't know about the latest, greatest Chinese stuff that a reviewer would want to ask him about. Why don't you carry this? Well, Knives and More carries USA made knives for the most part. 90% of their knives are. And this guy was very condescending to him. So much so that all three of the gentlemen in there do not like him. And I was surprised by that.
If only I could have jumped in their bodies for a moment and talked to him.
John, I don't know why they didn't him out.
They thought about it. I'm kind of glad they didn't, because he would take it. He is like, I hope Metal Complex doesn't need to be a clickbaiter with his spine whacking, but I think his whole premise of his content is to point out things that are not like they're supposed to be, to sell controversy, to get people engaged. You know, I will give him credit. I have not watched the videos, but he did something on the MSI Mini that he felt like he did wrong, and he said it kept him up for 24 hours, and he came back and made another video about it. I don't know what he decided, what he learned, but I don't like his voice.
Since when is Metal Complex not a clickbait? He's been doing that for years.
Well, yeah, with knives, he's always done, he's always made it engaging, but he's shown off knives is the way I've always thought of his channel. Lately, he's been spine whacking a lot of stuff, like 5 or 6 or 7 times, really hard. Just yesterday he did.
Once a whacker, always a whacker.
And so much so that it's getting out to companies, which I guess is not a bad thing, like Kaiser, like I think there are a couple of others in there, that their Facebook groups are lighting up with people asking if their knife's going to fail, which it's a good exercise for Kaiser to set their mind at ease or tell them why it's not.
I feel so bad for that Chinese company.
I feel no badness for it.
That puts you on a list. That's a good reason not to send you knives If you customer blowing you up, asking if the knife's going to fail.
Gary,
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I need a channel where I just beat the hell out of everybody's knives. You can just send them to me, and I'll just smash them with a hammer and see how they do.
Well, Joe X does that pretty much. Have you seen his content? He's in the Balkans or somewhere.
Guy's an idiot.
Oh yeah. You know who made his knife of the year last year?
Mr. Creeley.
I did.
The point of Joe X
is that knife is a damn monster.
It's not actual information. Like, there's a difference between using your knife and abusing it. And he's doing things with it that the knife was not meant to do. So it doesn't matter.
And I made the knife meant to do what he does.
Give him a 3/4 inch piece of stock and barely put a 80-degree edge on it, barely grind a bevel, and there you go.
No, I mean, I would say Gary's knife is still usable.
No, I'm saying for what the guy wants to do. I'm not saying Gary's knife.
I got you. No, I feel you.
Well, I mean, it is a 1/4 inch piece of stock with a Scandi grind.
I was just
not a convex.
But in all fairness, Gary, you probably heat treated it past 27 HRC.
Yeah.
It's because he heat treated it, period.
Yeah, heat treated it, period.
Speaking of high quality knives, did you guys hear? I mentioned in the comment, nobody said anything. Shed Knives is closing.
Are they really?
Shed Knives?
That's Jack Billings, the guy who made the Skur and the knife.
Did you hear this, Gary?
On his Instagram.
Oh.
I wonder why.
Dom, I 100% agree. There are reasons to use each tool, and people who are trying to use a folding knife to do crazy stuff with it, that's not the purpose of the knife.
I mean, there's a lot
of things that Bugsy's got some cool big fixed blades, but in order, like that knife was not designed to be a pry bar, even though it probably can do it. It's just it's not designed.
You should see them test these damn things.
It's not designed. You have better tools to do that. That's the point.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I got this.
A knife is designed to.
Uh-oh.
Did we lose Kyle?
No, I'm here.
Okay. Did you finish the Gary? Oh, we lost Gary.
Oh, we went over to Shed Knives.
Gary's there.
Oh, Gary's got us on Shed Knives.
All right, so he's been pumping it lately.
But yeah, Kyle, here's a perfect example.
That was June 4th. That's 2003.
Wait. We don't know what sharp blades do. Expand on that, Dom.
What's that now?
I'm just asking a question.
Okay. Let me highlight it. I was trying to find the question. I'm trying to do better.
But yeah, here you go, Kyle. This one's a pry bar. This one is my wedding cake knife.
Like I said, Bugsy, it's not that they can't do it, but it's not what it was designed to do.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's what I mean. This thing is designed for that. It's just a chunk with one bevel.
But and Bugsy, I will take Kyle's side 100% on this, because I go back to a video that Shane made that somehow disappeared from his channel. I think when he went through his temporary ban, where he had a screwdriver, a big one that wouldn't cut, and he was going to send it back to the screwdriver company. It was tongue in cheek about why my screwdriver won't cut like it's supposed to. And the tool's not made for the job. That knife you had will definitely cut through a 1976 Malibu Classic station wagon door, but it's designed to cut through brush. It's designed probably to cut through other things. Yes, you can abuse it and it'll hold up. But at the same time, like Kyle says, going back to what Shane said earlier, yes, Chris Reeve fine wax his knives, but I think he just waxed them once to set the lock and make sure it's not gonna. I don't think he sits there and whacks it 5 or 6 times.
He's not setting the lock, but what he's doing is just testing to make sure it locks up. But the point being, even on that, you can still spine whack as long as you're not abusing and going just doing it constantly. It doesn't matter if you do it a couple times If you do it 4 times, 5 times, there's not like a set in stone number that's going to be, oh, now you just ruined it. But it's a point.
Well, and different knives probably fail at different points, right?
But it's the point. It's kind of like what we talked about a second ago with Joe X. He's putting a tool to a test that is not meant to be tested to. There's a difference between using a knife and abusing it.
I mean, I'd like to see the point of failure.
Well, and that's
right.
Like
in the surprise. I agree, Bugsy, but in the use case of said item, if you're taking it beyond what the item is designed to be doing, it doesn't matter what you're putting it through. That doesn't make sense.
Like if you're testing electronics and throwing them in a swimming pool, you're not testing it for what it's meant to be tested for.
No, I'm just saying some things surprise you, you know?
True. I'm going to show y'all a couple of spine wax, and you tell me if this is excessive. All right. And I'm trying to get it right to the wax so you don't have to hear any of the... All right, let me go back just a second. Pause it. Let me share it.
Shane, I think that you're looking at that as a entertainment purpose, which is fine. But to judge something based on that set of testing when it's beyond the scope of what the item is designed to be, then it's not necessarily beneficial.
No, like so for example, like I'm not a huge fan of Chris Reeves knives. They're just not fidgety enough for me. But if I could take that knife and put it beyond, and it was just unbreakable, you know what I mean? Like if it just stood out amongst, I would still own it. I would still buy one if it was just, you know, tougher than it should be.
That's the beautiful thing about knives, is there's so many of us that have little things that we like, that we love. And I just come back to a guy that came in and bought a SOG SE, one like I traded. It's a huge knife that he bought for that reason. So y'all real quickly tell me if this is excessive whacking in your opinion.
Even call it a whack. It's more of a tap. It's more what I do is,
and he calls this a tap. This is the guy that probably influences as many new knife buyers as anyone. So let's just see what his tap is.
a spine tickle. Right?
A tickle.
Little tickle.
Does that sound like a tickle?
That's not that hard.
No, that's not hard, and that's a padded surface too. So
I know.
Yeah, I mean it's not abuse, but it's not.
Don't you think it falls outside of normal use where you would have a failure point if you whacked it under a normal use?
I do way worse, I'll be honest.
Well, John, kind of what I was saying earlier is like for Bugsy, for an analogy, if you were to take a lifted Chevy Tahoe and go try to run a slalom course with it on a racetrack, it's going to fail way before a race car is going to, because it's not designed for that purpose, right?
Correct.
Same as saying you're going to take a very blunt pry bar and try to cut with it like you are something that's 10 thou behind the edge. It's not going to perform the same. So to test one and say it fails at something just solely because it fails doesn't mean that that's what that should be tested upon.
And I agree with that. I guess my only issue, the title, which I can't say anything about titles because AI's helped me with my misleading titles. Something clearly needs to change. And to me, the Big Lighter 2.9 is a gentleman's folder. And it doesn't have to, in my opinion, be tickled as hard as a cold steel, because I'm not planning on doing, me personally, with the gentleman's folder that's only 2.97 inches blade length. Let's watch this tickle again, and let's see where it fails.
It's good to know that it can, though.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
And I mean, honestly, if a knife fails under that, I'm
Well,
not going to carry it.
I'm out for a second. First of all, he's a complete dumbass for holding it like that when he's whacking it. So when it comes back,
Yeah.
smack him right in the web of his thumb and finger.
He did have a lot of people comment on that, and I think he was, and I don't think this one necessarily failed. I think he talked about it wiggling. I think he knew that the crossbar lock was not going to cut his hand, or he felt strongly enough that it wasn't. Usually he wears that big knight's glove. But anyway, I guess my point is anybody can go out and get clicks to make a video, but it can hurt a company.
A tickle, but a
And
tickle.
again, it doesn't matter if it's I don't feel as hurt if it's hurting a big Chinese company, but any company shouldn't be hurt. Although I made a scathing video because my buddy A to Z EDC bought a Hoback. What's the big one called, Kyle, that Maddie likes? That's like the big sumo.
There was one called the Sumo.
And there was one bigger than that, much bigger, that came out after the sumo, right about the time he got. Anyway, I'll find it in just a second. I did a video on it that's going to come out. It's got an American flag and a Chinese flag. My buddy A to Z bought it on the secondary market for $275. The price on the box and on the listing at Blade HQ is like $625. And whoever made the knife for him, it's got Psalms 23 etched in the titanium and Hoback.
Yeah. Kubi's making the new Kubi came out with the Sumo in their own line. There's a Kubi Sumo out there right now.
Right. But the knife that I reviewed that my buddy A to Z bought was one of the original Hobacks in the wooden box that was sold through USA Made Blades, that was found out about the time the Sumo, because this knife had just been released when all the Hoback having his knives, some of his knives made in China came out. And it was because of the construction of the Sumo and this. Let me find out the name of this knife real quick, so I'm not just talking blindly. Always talk blindly.
I mean, it's.
And I don't mind. My point was, I don't mind casting shade and doing something negative that Jake might go, I wish he hadn't done that. The 625 knife controversy, Jake Hoback Summit. Do you remember the summit?
Yeah, I mean, now I have an idea what it is, but I really didn't pay much attention to Jake because I wasn't a fan of his stuff. So
I wasn't a huge fan of his stuff. But this particular, and it doesn't say, this is something that I found weird. I could not find on the certificate of authenticity anything that said made in America. I don't know if that's been changed. I remember these knives were marketed as made in the USA. And I remember Witty came out making a very upset video that he felt misled.
Yeah, 100%.
And then Jake came out.
I'm just gonna say that's not even the question. We know that he got caught doing that.
But the crazy thing to me, the hypocrisy. Or
I'm really getting sick of it.
Is
honestly.
it really that common, Gary? I mean,
yeah, it's always something.
I mean,
every before him, it was Browse. Before him, it was someone else. It's every.
And then there's dozens more we don't know about yet.
Right, but every few years there's a big maker that gets caught doing it. What's his name? ADV, Andre DeVillis. He was doing all his mid-tech stuff out of China and saying it was still made in South Africa. He got in trouble for that for a while.
So do they not think that they're ever going to have an employee go rogue, or that they're not going to be found out, or are the profits that great to they're willing to risk?
Profits are pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Gary, you're talking about your something you built. Maybe some of these guys haven't put in the time to build a brand. I always thought Andre and his wife did put in the time to build a brand. I would think, and Hoback
stuff too. But I mean, that's the thing. He still made customs, but he wasn't making his production / mid-tech stuff.
If I'm not,
if the knife is an American knife, it is worth considerably more money.
Right.
And when you lie about that, you're stealing money.
I agree. And Jake was selling this knife for $625. Kubi's selling, well, if you go
he's
back,
probably into it 85.
Correct. And printing on the frame.
That's theft.
Yes. or PA 23. So he's putting a Bible verse on the frame of something that he's taking from his people or the people on. And
nothing like pulling Jesus into your scam.
That's been going on for thousands of years.
But he's able to continue to, I guess, make knives, and people have forgiven him.
It's because he has fan bases just like everyone else. You still had people defending Bark River to the very end.
You know, people, people still watch our friends CVX guy with testing all these knives incorrectly. Like, to me, that's disqualifying. You lose your YouTube card for that one. But he's plugging right along.
Yeah, because people who, I don't know how I'm going to phrase this. You don't know what you don't know. And if someone is not aware and they just buy into someone and like what they like, as far as maybe his style, his content, his whatever, then they're going to believe whatever that person says, regardless of
cognitive dissonance.
Right. Regardless of going and doing their own due diligence. There's too many people that read. It's the same thing as people read headlines. They don't actually look at the story and figure out what the hell something means.
I'm guilty of that. And I also feel that
You're very guilty.
I'm below average intelligence, but I can watch a creator that I enjoy their content. Lefty is a good example, and know that I'm not necessarily, even though I bought a lot of things that Lefty showed, I was not swayed by Lefty's persuasion or his shilling.
Bullshit.
And laugh.
100% bullshit.
I would buy some skiffs because I believed in them, but I watched his content.
No, you started the whole slip joint craze because of him. Then you started the whole fixed blade craze because of him.
That was because of your sharpening job. That was
full control of your mind for multiple years.
Well, the slip joint thing happened when I was asleep on Ambien, so I still think that could have been a witchcraft thing. I did not consciously buy that Ohio River Jack. But
Thank you,
right.
Fiverr. Thank you,
And
Fiverr.
Kyle, when Lefty was showing off that chickadee that he eventually sold me for, I think, a very fair price, he was showing off your sharpening job, and that's what was making me really want it. That's why I bought the little Tucson, just to see if I'd carry it. How many?
Yeah. How many fidgets did you buy? How many different?
I bought several. That's true.
Bit drivers.
But I question myself because Lefty is a baby Huey. I've never thought of Lefty as the cool guy in the room. I like Lefty, but I think he had similar taste into things that I thought were kind of cool, and he brought cool things to my attention. I've bought none of his electrical things. I'm not into pew-pews. He may be influencing people there because he's doing content on it now. But I felt like the things that made me align with Lefty's purchases was we liked similar type of things. And maybe he made me like those things. But I watched Bearded Gear before him, Metal Complex, Slicey.
No shit, Shane.
I think
anything he said buy, you went out and bought.
No, not everything, because he wasn't buying the budget Chinese knives like I was. And
well, yeah, you're buying it on top.
Yeah, I mean, he was always buying nicer stuff than I was, but he was convincing me or showing me the knife in a way that made me want to do a pre-order, where I didn't always do pre-orders. But it wasn't because I looked up to him. I looked at him kind of as a jester. I watched him for his like skiff upgrades where he would put lose a bearing and put the knife back together. I always thought of him kind of as a clown.
What's up, little Naughty?
Just throw shade at Lefty, baby. I never throw shade at Lefty. I do.
Okay, John, you did everything you could to imitate Lefty. Like you were following what his trends were in YouTube. You were doing the affiliate link and the beacons, and then everything that he was doing, you were tagging along doing. And that's fine. Just, we love you, but just admit that.
Well, in fairness to that, I was reaching out to Lefty by that point when I started a channel to ask how and why to do affiliate links, because for the longest time I wouldn't. So that was absolutely me going after him for knowledge, just because he'd done it for a while. Now Lefty does it better, I think, than a lot of people, because I think Lefty's a pretty good shill. I don't
define what pretty good means.
I think he sells a lot of knives for people, and I'm surprised that he has as many people send him as many knives when he is a competitor of theirs. But he's also a marketing partner.
I find it, the word shill and good, completely separate.
Well, marketing maybe is the word I'm looking for.
And I agree. This got brought up a long time ago. I agree with Shane on this. The fact, if you own a knife company, I think it's a conflict of interest to be reviewing other people's knives.
I agree with that. And I think not as much as if you were a reviewer and started a knife company and companies still were sending you knives to review, there might be a little bit of conflict there. But if you've watched Lefty's reviews, I've never seen his take on knives change. I don't watch him as much anymore, but I've seen his headlines about other people's knives that are very positive. Not his friends, not KC, but knives that I don't know who the maker is.
Yeah, Let me adjust your statement a little bit, Kyle. I would say it like this. If you're doing negative knife reviews on other people's knives and you're a knife maker, that's a conflict of interest.
I think it's a conflict of interest regardless, because you could be telling people, hey, this is a great knife because you're buddies with this guy and it still sucks.
Well, that's a conflict of interest when you're buddies with him, whether you're a knife maker or not.
I'm not disagreeing, but the fact that you are by being a knife maker or a knife owner, company owner, you're making more friends than you might have made before. So
possibly. But I would push back on that to say, I'll push back on that to say, one, as a knife maker, perhaps.
He's not a knife maker, though.
Well, that's true. Perhaps, you can give a little more perspective than maybe what would be there otherwise. And if it's a positive review, whether it's your buddy or not, the whole idea of a conflict of interests is that you're trying to benefit yourself, and if you're just trying to do something for somebody else, I would not do a negative knife review of a competitor, but like Benchmade isn't my, well, maybe they are, but not serious competitor. I don't know. I'm a knife maker and I like doing knife reviews, so that's my problem.
You shilled for Benchmade on my live stream when you showed everybody that you could get a Benchmade Grip Pillion for $124.
Gary, I will say this though: the difference is you being a knife maker and knowing the ins and outs is different than someone like. I'm not trying to throw shade because I don't, but want to. But he's not doing his own CADs. He has someone else doing those. So like the actual intricacies of making said item are not as the same as a knife maker. So I think potentially also working, because he does OEM stuff overseas. So knives that come in by said OEM, that's a conflict of interest.
Because he could be saying that OEM is good because other people know his knives being made there. For example, the Nip Large being made by Kubi. So it makes sense that he might be more favorable on Kubi's coming across his table for a while.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube can drive a lot of sales traffic. Trust me, I know.
So that's all I was getting to.
I was wondering, because I still think YouTube makes up less than 1% of people out in the real world buying knives. And I could be way off, but I'm just talking about the conversations I've had in the last 4.5 months, the people that are even familiar with Knife Tube that come in.
I think you're way off.
Do you think it's closer to 10% or
lower? I would say it's probably higher than 10%, because here's the thing. Well, let me preface this by saying, if you're not buying like box cutters and Kershaws at Walmart, because that's a large portion of a lot of these companies' sales. If you're
Yeah,
actually
these are
if
$200
you're,
and $300 knives.
I'm saying,
Benchmade Protect.
yeah, I'm saying if you're buying Benchmade, if you're buying something from Blade HQ, if you're buying something from one of those places, an online retailer, more than likely you've looked it up online to see if that's what you want or not. You've probably seen a video on it.
That's probably true. I'm just surprised more don't like, even the engineers that I know watch content on YouTube aren't familiar with the Blade HQs that have a channel, or the Metal Complexes, or the Melissa Backwoods. They just don't watch it. And I always said the guy in Alaska who's really using his knife every year to survive has probably never seen a YouTube video. But that's a small percentage. I realize that too. And what people probably do realize, but I learned as an advertiser, knife companies are at a huge disadvantage in terms of being able to market fairly. Like Google, for example, the guy that I work for wanted to find out about stickers. So I said, well, there are a couple of sticker companies I use. I gave them to him, and he typed it in, and he was about to click on the first Google return. I said, that's not Zug Monster. I said, that says sponsored. He had to scroll below the fold.
Yep.
And he did a branded search, Zug Monster, and it was like 11 listings down. And most people like him would have gone to the first sticker company on the list. So as a knife company, you can't even buy AdWords. So you don't have a chance.
Right. That's why they use YouTube.
Correct. That's
and
why
you've stated before that YouTube is one of the largest search engines. So if people are researching a knife that they want to buy at Blade HQ, more than likely they're probably going to cross-reference that and look at YouTube.
Well, YouTube signals very well through Google. So if you do a Google search on a knife, over the folds, you're going to have a bunch of videos that you can preview on that knife.
Dark Gravity also brings up a good point. Having a local store makes a big difference. I don't have any local knife shops to me.
That's true. And most people don't, Kyle.
Right.
We're a rarity. And this store is exceptionally rare because it's been there this is the 21st year.
Depending how you define knife store. Sorry about the cough.
I've got the only places that carry knives around me besides like your junk at Walmart is occasionally one of the gun shops will carry Benchmade or something like that, but that's about it.
Do you have Ace Hardwares there?
Yep.
Yeah.
They probably have cases. I think they're one of the bigger case.
We said good knives.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and believe it or not, I don't know if I told you, I don't think I did, but there's a guy that is one of the reasons I'm just rapidly losing passion for knives. This is one guy who comes in every week. He's younger than me, and he's a case guy. And he wants to look at the 4 cases in the boxes where you got to unwrap them from paper because he's looking like Lefty does to see if it's centered. And of course, he comes back and goes, this isn't centered. And I go, I've never seen a case knife in my life that was centered. It's a unicorn. You're looking at 3 blades. You're looking at a whittler that is design flawed to never be centered. It's not going to happen. And then he tried to tell me on one that the knife was, this knife's been sharpened. No, it hasn't. It's a brand new knife. Look at this grind. I was like, I'm not disagreeing that the grind's off, but that was done at Zippo.
Yeah.
But so many people buy those.
He lives, him and Dang Ross live close to Freydenlock, which is a great knife shop.
Very good knife shop.
One of my dealers.
Yeah, you were showing. That's what I was going to say, Gary. You were showing, and Bugsy was showing his Freydenlock Techno, I think.
I gave them a couple of Magnamax.
Did Gary freeze?
Yeah.
Gary, you gave them a couple of Magnamax, and then you froze. You're back.
I gave them a couple Magnamax omnivores. Chef's knives. Mini chef's knives.
And those are the ones that do you cut those at the chisel?
Yep.
Yeah, I saw a couple of those in a pan. It must have been one of your glamour shots.
I I'm hoping for Blade to have a few 8-inch chef's knives chisel ground in Magnamax. Magnamax is no joke. Now that I've been working with it a little bit, like the fight, yeah, like it's going through belts 3 times as fast as MagnaCut. It's tricky to work with. It is really a wear-resistant steel.
Oh, really? So you're seeing some limitation, or not limitations, but some hurdles working with it over MagnaCut? I don't know if you saw Erica's video today. We previewed it before you came on.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, God.
She seems to love Magnamax. She says it's totally above the hype, and she has your minnow there. I didn't watch the whole video.
I'd agree.
But she talks about how it's easy to sharpen, how it. I was surprised at her rating of super steel. I always thought a super steel were.
I didn't agree with that point. I would say powdered metallurgies in general are super steels.
That's how I look at it. Thank you.
I mean, I would not say AEBL is a super steel.
No, but it's a mid-grade steel. It performs better than a budget steel.
It is a budget steel, though.
It's a budget steel by price.
Budget steel.
No, it's a budget steel by price. It's not a budget steel by performance base.
Sorry, if it's heat treated well.
Right, but that's the point. Is a lot of these steels, like I don't put even there's powder metallurgy. I don't put in super steels. I don't put S35 in a super steel. It's on the low end. You know, like I say, it's the thinnest kit at Fat Camp, but. Yeah, I would say so. To me, it was a downgrade from S30. I like S45 better than both, but they're very similar. I like S45 much better than both. I think, to me, S45 is one of the best all-around steels behind MagnaCut.
Yeah, it's very underrated. It's a good steel.
I was very surprised to hear her say. I feel I don't ever hear anyone refer to MagnaCut as a super steel anymore. And I've never heard anyone refer to MagnaCut as anything but a super steel.
I'm going to bite my tongue on this whole subject with your source, but the point is, I think they're like Shane said, AEBL can be a super steel depending upon what you're looking for. If you're looking for toughness, it definitely is a super steel.
So, for instance, I'm doing 3V with my patented, registered trademark, not registered, gamma heat treat. Which, long story short, is going to be putting I'm hoping is going to be putting my 3V right around 64 Rockwell, which nobody runs it at that, but they all should be. So the Delta heat treat was an attempt to make an already naturally extremely tough steel even a little tougher. To me, it's already naturally tough, way tougher than anybody needs. Well, most people need. So why not? Let's push the hardness and push the edge retention and make it really, like a MagnaCut, not quite a stainless, but just nearly the edge retention, and even more toughness.
That's why running AEBL 14C at 64 makes it a phenomenal steel, because you're gaining the edge retention. You're not dropping the toughness until you get above 65. And
I don't know if you can you get 14C to 64?
Yeah. And to start with, AEBL is so much tougher than 99% of the steels out there that you have more ability to run it with thin edges, with, especially in, like, if you're looking at it for small folders or small fixed blades or folders, you can get crazy with that steel.
But 3V is even tougher yet
than AEBL.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Look at the charts.
AEBL is 9.5.
Well, then 3V's 9.6. It's at the very top. It depends. It depends who's making these numbers up, but I would say, I do believe, I remember, you can look it up, I'm not in front of a computer, but I do remember 3V being tougher than AEBL at similar hardnesses. and let's assume that's true for a moment, or let's just assume it's similar. Okay, let's just assume it's similar. And now you're talking about triple the edge retention. So you could not only benefit from, pretty good edge retention on its own, but also really great geometry because of the extremely high toughness.
I'm not saying 3V is not a better steel than 14C. I'm just saying, or AEBL. I'm just saying that it's for the difference in price point and what you can get performance based out of them. It's crazy. And the thing that I always bring up about 14C AEBL is, yes, the initial edge retention is not as strong as some of these super steels, but the ability for that steel to how it reacts to stropping back into hones makes it where you get 4, 5, 6 times before you get to take it to steel. When some of them, you can't do that. Like, you're maybe once or twice, and then you got to take it back to steel. So the edge retention before you need to resharpen is different based on the steels themselves. So
Kyle, is AEBL an ingot steel?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's okay.
Yep, it's a conventional poured ingot steel. It's a good steel. I mean, it's nothing against AEBL, but here's the other thing about AEBL: that price difference ain't so big no more.
Compared to 3V, yeah, it's probably double, but it's not as wide as it once was. Therefore,
yeah, at one point you could get it for like what, $8 a pound. Now it's
it was
20,
like 3 to 4 times cheaper than
now it's double.
Yeah,
and when you consider the percentage of cost that the raw steel is in the overall blade, like I tell you, from a business model point of view, and maybe this is just, I have a different set of clients than say Kyle Rohr or somebody like that, so for my particular crowd, now I say that as I'm straightening a bunch of 8670, but in the big scheme of things, it doesn't. And I'll pull back the curtain here a little bit. I'll probably charge $100 more for the 3V version of this. Excuse me. And so like it, I won't make as much money on these 8670s. It's really just a way for me to discount without discounting, so to speak. And that's how
a lower entry point or a lower cost of entry for your product.
Yeah, so it's a marketing thing. But in terms of profitability, the majority of knives I want to make, and I say that as I'm making 3 times as many of these 8670s as the 3Vs, but it's just what I had on hand. Yeah, it just, especially in the fixed blade world, somebody picks up a knife and it's in, a 3V or a S90V or a MagnaCut or, one of those, it's just going to demand more money from most customers. Now, that's my customers. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that they're like, that one's $100 cheaper. Look, they're both shiny. I'll take the one that's $100 cheaper.
They're handle people. Shane, Edgy American has a question for you, Gary.
AEBL and 3V, I just looked, are both at 9. I thought the one was 9.5, but they're both at 9. But like he
at the same hardness,
just on the base level from what Laren posted on the chart. But what he brings up too is AEBL is stainless, so it has that property which some people will appreciate more.
3V is almost stainless.
But I would say though, for how do I want to phrase it? I think AEBL 14C in a fixed blade is a much better steel than majority of super steels.
Depends on the size of the fixed blade. Mid to larger size fixed blades. Yeah. But here's the thing. Sorry. You'll appreciate this. This 8670, I think I'm going to run it at like 62 Rockwell, which is pretty hard for 8670. Most guys run this stuff at like 56 or something. And I'm going to put really thin edge geometry on it. So it'll be interesting for people to use. To me, this is, see, I can run this at, let's say I run it at 62. 8670 at 62 Rockwell is going to perform so much better than 1095 at 57.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to have better edge retention than 1095. Even though 1095 can have better edge retention, that's when you're running it at like 67. So at 62 versus say 58, 57, for 1095, you're going to have better toughness, easier sharpenability. It'll take a nice fine edge. Like so many things. I don't know why so many people use 1095.
Well, that gets back to my point of why I think 14C is underutilized in that, because it does have that high toughness. You can take the geometry down lower. It has ease of sharpening, is just as easy to sharpen 14C as damn near anything. It takes a fine, it can take a mirror edge. It can take a toothy edge. It strops back and sharpens back so easily that it holds that edge longer than certain steels that even technically have a higher edge retention, but they don't strop back or hone back as well.
So it'll wear longer.
I think it's underutilized because of people assume that because it's used on budget knives, that is a budget steel or a non-performing steel. And yes, it's budget based off of dollar amount, but the performance side.
So here's the thing with 14C. I think it's a phenomenal steel. I like it a lot. I've made some knives that I really liked out of it. I think it's a really good steel. I think it's a bit of an upgrade on ABL, and all that is true. However, from a I sell knives and make money point of view, it's ruined. It's ruined because all these Chinese knives that are saying 14C 28N, very few of them, I believe, actually are. And so as a marketing point of view, it's a hard steel. It's a hard steel to justify using for me.
It's not there.
I can't disagree with that at all. It's the same as what they did to D2. They run D2 based off of using pot metal and calling it D2.
Right. Fake. Like, yeah, it ruined it.
But
like good D2, well heat treated, is really good performance edge retention line.
Right. The thing about though is people haven't had a lot of times they haven't had a well heat treated knife. But you know damn well, Gary, you go to these shows and you're going to see some of these fixed blade makers with fancy handles and this and that, and they're charging $800 to $1,000 or more for a piece of an $8 piece of junk carbon steel that they probably barely heat treated. They don't really care, right?
But they did the forge by eye.
Right. So the point of performance is if you can get, like, I know for a fact I've had some of Shane's AEBL 14C and Nitro V comes over here at 63 to 65 range, depending upon the batch you did. And it's nasty. I mean, it is downright, it's going to get stupid sharp. It's going to last a lot longer than any 14C you've ever had before. And it was done well.
I actually like AEBL better than Nitro V.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, I still classify them as all the same because they're still the same family, just like a lot of other steels are in the same family. But they have different properties. But for the average layman, Nitro V, 14C, AEBL, they're all going to be the same.
Yeah, functionally the same. But you get a knife now, moving back to the super steel conversation, you get a knife now in Magnamax, you're going to notice the difference.
Yeah.
And Magnamax is going to have enough toughness that you're going to be able to run a relatively lean edge. It's not Rex 121.
And that might be one of the first steels that people like me have experienced is that much different than the other, than as Erica put it, just a hype steel. It's actually a performing steel that you'll see the difference. Gary, quick question from Shane. How is AEBL so much tougher than some PM steels?
Low carbon content. I think it's only what is it, 6.6, 0.7, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but it's
pretty simple.
Yeah. But sometimes the crazy thing about it, simplicity works for that. And the weird thing about typically when you get a lot of those simple steels, you don't have the flexibility of edges. So like Gary knows this as well as anyone. Every steel takes edges differently. So some steels only like bitey edges. You can get a polish on them, but they won't hold the polish nearly as well. Other, do better with a polish first and then let it wear off to get to the bitey. Like, I think 14C is one of those steels that it does everything well across the board as far as sharpening. And it does take every edge. A lot of steels can't do that. It's just kind of a unique for being that simplistic.
Where does that come from? Who makes that? Is that a Bowler steel or is that a Carpenter steel?
A lot of what they call AEBL is not AEBL. There are a number of analogs of it.
I got you.
I forget who is the original company. Bodaris made a lot of what most American knife makers were using.
I was going to say, I thought it was Bodaris, but now that they're closed, I'm not sure who's going to be picking that up.
Well, according to Pete at New Jersey Steel Baron, it's going to be a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
Which I think they have it now. I haven't looked.
No,
I'm behind in the chat.
They make knives from AEBL. AEBL's, it's not junk. AEBL is a great steel. It's just a matter of.
And you know what? They didn't put AEBL in a bunch of the Chinese knives. They put Nitro V.
Right.
It was spared.
Putting something in their knives. They're using, I've noticed, analogs or knives that they're calling 3V, AEBL, a lot of AEBL. The first OS 10 or OS 8, Nitro V steels I don't see in Chinese knives. S45 on their premium knives instead of anything like M390.
OS 6, OS 8, and OS 10 are 440A, B, and C.
Right.
This one is.
It's the same thing we talked about before. Is people like jump on to think that in the last 5 to 8 years that S60 and S90 are like phenomenal new knife steels. They've been around forever, but they were just.
I think they're NASA bearing steel.
They were 440 and 420 VN, I believe, or V. They were just rebranded.
Yeah, yeah. It had a different.
They were trying to get away
now.
From
Carpenter's making a new steel, and I can't get my hands on it. That's saying something. Which is 421J or J421.
I've seen that.
It's supposedly an ingot. It's supposedly an ingot steel that has similar performance to Magnica, and it would be a domestic steel. So I'm very interested in that, but I can't get it.
The one that didn't last very long that I wish would have stuck around to get more hype and more testing was Nitro X7.
I was in the process of getting a bunch of that and making a bunch of knives.
That had a lot of potential.
It was in that process that I got an email that said, sorry, we're closing up shop. We can't get your steel.
Right. I know Demco made a few runs in that, and there were a few fixed blade manufacturers that made it, but that was it. It didn't get out.
Steve's got any more of that stuff laying around.
Steve had some to test. I don't know, but that had so much potential, though, as far as having the same characteristic we've been hyping and talking about for the last 30 minutes, but more edge retention.
Was it such a niche steel that someone else didn't pick it up when they closed that it would be too hard of a marketing sell to get people to see the value in it, that it didn't survive the company?
Well, they didn't close all that long ago, so it's not like they've just. It's not like it's been sitting. Someone
I
might
don't know that steel was going to be a dramatic departure from Nitro V.
from like, okay, Steve had a batch of it, and from what he was saying, it was pretty revolutionary from what he got his testing done on it. But again, that's one batch, one maker, one heat treat protocol testing it, but he was getting phenomenal results out of it.
Well, what I'm excited about for this carpenter, if it ever comes to be, I mean,
I
they're
was
making
sitting
it.
with him when the representative bumped into him at the show.
With what excites me about the carpenter is that's an American steel.
Right.
Now, besides being hoorah America, there's also a lot of practical benefits to that, like with getting it. Except it's carpenter, which makes it impossible to get.
Say logistics with that, but here's the thing, though. It doesn't. What it comes down to ultimately, though, is yes, you're supporting Carpenter, who's an American company, but if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, it's not like the steel itself is not American. Like a lot of if you're getting anything with vanadium, it's not from America.
This is an ingot poured steel.
I'm just saying,
it's an electroslag melt, so this steel probably would be American.
I'm saying the general state of a lot of the super steels that people want, regardless of how you're getting them, even if it's a crucible steel, wasn't based on you're not getting.
It's not American powder.
It's not harvested here. The powders are harvested here.
And if you want to look at how vanadium is harvested, so to speak, it's not nice.
Shane, is it maybe because they're smaller and they don't offer as much to the knife world?
Carpenter?
Yeah. Why is it
no, Carpenter's big and annoying, and they just don't care about the knife world.
So their customer service sucks for the knife.
Their interest in the knife industry is not high. Now, this steel was developed for medical tools. This, I think it's J421.
Carpenter, if I'm not mistaken, knife is only 10-12% of their company. It's not much at all.
No, that might be generous. But they're 35 minutes from my house. So
yeah,
which is huge.
I could just go, and they're rolling it themselves, so the sheets are only 12 inches wide. But they should just give it to Niagara to melt so that Niagara can sell it to me, because Niagara gets me steels quick.
And do you find the consistency and quality because Niagara's who they are more consistent, better, or not?
Well,
really?
it's just Niagara's not. They're going to come up with a big contract, and they're just going to be predictable and reliable.
Gary, I know you're probably not a betting man, but if you were to have to put odds on something, what do you think the odds of someone coming out with a protocol or way to bring back the potential of 15V or some of the steels that we think are going to be gone for good?
It would have to be I put very low odds on it as it looks now. Their furnaces, it would just self-destruct their furnaces to make that.
Right. That's why I didn't know if they would be willing to invest in that process or change the protocol potentially of steel itself
to get to that heat or that tolerance.
It's a temperature problem.
Right. I don't know if they'd be willing to invest in new furnaces or machinery to get to that point, is what I was getting at.
Some of the challenges, their furnaces are big, and that's part of the problem too. They triple the size of CPM, so they're making 20,000 pounds at a time. No, there's no money in it. There's no business argument to build that out. So
the juice isn't worth the squeeze
that's kind of where I was at, but I just didn't know if, depending upon one of these companies, if they got a burr up their ass or had an influx in backing, that they decided they wanted to bring back some of these high heat processing.
Shane, are those the shoes that have the toes built into them?
What?
5 grams? Am I wrong, Budsy? What's vibranium?
Vibranium is the metal from
a comic book.
Yeah.
What a geek.
Shane is probably better off with flubber shoes.
What I think
Now,
knife companies should do, and I think Gary already does it, but I think with these Taylor Hardnesses and these other HRC police people, I think if you've taken the time to put together protocols that work and you're transparent about it and you use it as a marketing value or a benefit, or a transparency layer, as a result, your credibility is going to go up and you're going to sell more knives, I would think.
Yeah, I think a lot depends on whether your knife design is interesting enough to start with.
Well, right. But I'm just saying let's take the knife designs as what they are. And I just watched some of the conversations on this Taylor board with people like you from Vosteed going, we'll do better. We'll send you a harder knife, stuff like that. And I didn't mean to do a parody on the voice.
Oh, you understand Chinese.
I'm sorry. But it seems to me that by saying, I'm a US maker, my knives, when I'm using, and maybe, Kyle, you're right, the different geometries require different protocols. I just think that like I've always said in my videos, you have to really come down to the trust between the maker and the supplier. They only know what they're told and able to verify. So if you find those guys that are, working with the right people, chances are you're going to be getting an accurate product that you're paying for.
Yeah, but here's the thing, John. I still, as a business owner, it is your responsibility to do due diligence to figure out what you're getting sold. Now, what they tell you may be one thing, that's fine. But if you don't even bother asking and you just say, okay, this is what I want, and they just say, yeah, it's fine, and you don't even bother to inquire, then that's on you. That's on you for not inquiring.
But we're talking about the same person, right? Like the person selling the product should be the one that's got.
I'm talking about like an OEM, a knife designer OEM. If they're not talking to or a knife designer talking to the OEM, asking, hey, making sure what are you running this at, where are you sourcing it from, blah 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 blah, and getting all the questions answered to be able to give to the public. That's
evasive. I agree with you.
That's not enough.
They can't play dumb and be like, oh, well, they just told me that's what it was.
I agree.
It's on you as the owner to be able to get that information to be able to give to your customers.
Correct. Whether you're just a designer, marketer, or you're a maker, my thought is, would it be a benefit for any of those companies to make sure they were holding their OEM accountable and making sure that data that they were publishing was accurate and that they were calling it out? That we're, actually pushing this to 62, even though I don't know. It just seems to me that
affects their money. And a lot of people aren't going to get in the way of that with their money. They'd rather play dumb and just be like, oh, I wasn't aware of that. They just told me that it was.
And see, to me, that seems like playing Russian roulette, because it's almost like the Hobeck making a knife in China thinking nobody's going to find out. You can't play dumb, I don't think, in today's world, because there's so many choices that somebody can make, and there are companies out there that are doing it right that aren't charging more. Chinese knives are coming in over $500 if you look at those Policos or Poticos or whatever the hell they are.
You can never pronounce things correctly,
even close. I'll leave out at least a vowel and a consonant if it's got more than 5 letters. I can't help it.
So go ahead, Gary. That's all right. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you can ask all those right questions and you can do all that and you can get your knives and they can be great. And then the next batch comes and it's terrible. You have $10,000 into that batch or $20,000 into whatever you have in that batch, and it's not as good or it's terrible. And now what do you do?
Right.
Unless you have somebody on the ground in China, it's a crapshoot.
And here's the thing I was going to say, John, a lot of these companies that we're skirting around talking about, they're not concerned necessarily with performance aspects. They're concerned with the design. Is this the latest, is this the greatest, bad material that's coming out? Can I sell this as something as an upcharge because it It's the cool newest thing versus, and they know very, very little about the steel aspect. And they're just going to say, oh, this is what it is because that's what they were told.
Or that my name's attached to it. Metal Complex, I'm talking to you.
So, for many years, until recently, honestly, I was the king of Rex 121.
Agreed.
I made more Rex 120 knives than anybody, many of which I ground by hand, freehand. And when it comes to Rex 121 and 15V, they're not great steels for knives. It's a fun novelty, but
I agree with you on Rex 121. It's a fun knife, and it's cool to have a piece of history / high performance items, but it's not a daily user. It's kind of like a Ferrari. You're not going to sit there and daily it and put 100,000 miles on it. But
yeah, it's
15V. I think 15V I think is definitely more usable and more of an all around steel than Rex 121.
More, yes. Much more, no. That would be like, it still rusts. It's still pretty chippy as compared to an actually tough steel. You know, it's still pretty low on the toughness chart. You know, what is it, 2 out of 10? You know, like so, and Rex is 1 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but it's closer to an all around steel than.
It's more usable, but it's still a pretty lousy choice for most people.
What do we think about Maximet?
Maximet's great.
Where does that fall?
Same idea.
You just have to use it correctly. That's the thing about Maximet. And a lot of these steels, they're designed to be slicers. They're not designed to be impact. They're not designed to be prying. They're not having side load. They're designed to be straight line cutters, basically. And it's a very good steel for that.
The Native 5 that I had in Maximet was insane.
Would it be a good kitchen blade?
What's
that?
Would it make a good kitchen blade, or do they need to be more flexible?
If you wanted something that was just really slicey, like, yeah, I mean, anywhere where wear resistance is desired, it would be good for that. You don't need a whole lot of toughness. But honestly, the biggest weakness to me is the rust.
Granted, this sits in a climate controlled environment, so it's not out getting abused in weather. But I've had this for almost 2 years, and I don't have a single thing of patina on it, and it's been sitting on my desk. It doesn't live with salt packets or pretzel salt, as John likes to use them.
Have you oiled it up?
No.
Does it have that stonewashed finish on it? That polished stonewash?
That's just a standard spider coat finish.
Yeah, I love that finish.
I had to keep Shane's comment up here because I'm gonna have to rename tonight's issue. I try to come up with a good name for my lives. I also dislike big boobs, so don't listen to me. I think that should be the title of tonight's stream. The comment of the night.
I thought you weren't a big boob guy, Shane.
He's not. That's why he says he doesn't like him, so don't listen to him.
I don't believe it.
No, he's
very serious when he says that.
Yeah,
he also doesn't like tacos because he's a freaking weirdo.
Where do they have the lady boys? Is that Thailand? Because that's where I think Shane's going to turn up. Is it
Thailand?
Okay.
It's the lady boys.
Or Philippines.
Yeah,
I was going to say, was that Philippines, Taiwan, something like that?
You got a couple choices there.
Gary,
Yeah,
I was still, and I know we don't have
I was going to say, there's a place down the street that you can
to jump into it, because Burning Forge is going to jump in. A guy I've never met that I want y'all to meet, who's a neat dude who also makes some knives. But I've been telling these guys about the mid-tech conversation that y'all were having, the custom versus mid-tech versus a production knife. And it sounded like y'all had kind of come almost to a grind, the final grind being the determinant, but then talking about someone who had a CNC machine and learned to master a tool, but was still a very capable knife maker with older tools. I found it fascinating because I've never thought about it any other way. But
I don't think a CNC guy is mid-tech solely because of that. What's up, Clayton?
Well, let's take Shed Knives, who is, closing up shop here. They were full CNC. He had, I think he had a Tormach, and he was taking like huge pieces of steel, and it was 154 cm, which isn't necessarily cheap steel, and slotting it with the machine. In other words, doing the profile, which is heavy lifting for the mill. Then you had you had a lot of wasted steel in that process compared to cutting it out on a sheet. So, like, just because you're making, like, everybody thinks like using a CNC is like a hack that's going to make you have a huge competitive edge. Not necessarily.
What part was he doing the CNC before he was heat treating, or after, or not at all?
Well, at one point he wasn't heat treating at all, so there's that. But
I was being facetious, but yes, I'm aware.
Because I tested one at 25 Rockwell.
Yeah, we've been telling that to John for 3 years, and he didn't believe us.
Is that the
I
one
didn't believe you either.
either?
I didn't believe it either.
Well, you just didn't think it could be so overlooked, such an integral part of making a quote unquote.
I gave the guy the benefit of the doubt.
So you tested the one that John sent you?
Yes.
Awesome. And you said 25 Rockwell?
25. That's like the annealed state.
Full annealed, basically.
It's like a pry bar.
That's less than pry bar.
No, pry bar probably be like 45 or 50. But yeah.
Piece of brass.
But it was just an expensive way to make a knife, the way he was going about it, and a lot of machine time to not turn out a lot of knives. And
my guess made it seem like he was turning out a ton of knives, and I didn't think he ever was.
Well, knowing his process, I think it would have been pretty hard with one machine. You need a whole line of machines.
So, Burning Stable Forge, how the heck are you? I want to introduce you to some people here. The TS Prof in the top center is Kyle Coonley. You probably know him, pronounced Coonlee. And then we've got Bugsy Craftworks to his right.
What up?
And then we've got Creeley Blades, Mr. Gary Creeley, to your left.
How's it going, Gary?
Good.
And this is Burning Stable Forge. Is that what you go by? Is that your internet secret name?
Yeah, it is. My name's Clayton, but yeah, it's Burning Stable Forge. Just the name of the company, the channel, Instagram, all that stuff.
It's
your stock removal guy?
No, I forge.
I'm just kidding.
I got it. I'm a little slow right now. It was a long day.
By the way, Clayton, I'm not sure if you connected to or not, but so on YouTube, I go by my name. So I was the one that was asking you about staying Kumai the other night on your live stream.
Oh, okay, what's your name?
Kyle Coonley.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember.
So just putting 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, that works.
Shane used to call him Kyle Coonel, and that's why I used to greet him in the chat, like COON-LEE.
Yeah,
I love Shane's take on words.
I'm horrible with names in the chat. I'm always messing them up.
Well, I can't read them for one because I'm too far away. But
yeah.
So how long have you been in the YouTube knife making game or the knife liking game, or has it been something that's been going on for a long time? Because I'm like a hermit. I don't see a lot of stuff that's going on.
At YouTube, 8 months, so pretty fresh channel. Or no, 9 months. I think just hit 9 months in the 8th. Instagram, I've been on there for a long time, probably since I started it a little over 2 years ago. 2 years in March. So, yeah. So just kind of, I started making knives in like 2018. And just kind of started doing it.
And has Instagram been your main go-to? Is that how you've been getting your customers, Clayton?
It was, man, until they started shadow banning me. And then I just didn't know what to do and was about to give up. And then kind of went into the YouTube world, and it just kind of changed the script. I realized there's a bunch of other knife lovers out there. He's like a whole nother realm.
Not only do you have that, but you've also, when people get shadow banned, people that you meet in the YouTube world that are also on Instagram will share your posts.
Yeah,
and it helps not only your posts get out there, but it can, I've heard, help the algorithm not shadow ban you. This is the Instagram, guys. If y'all want to give Burning Stable Forge a follow and check out his handiwork.
So you're full time?
I am full time. Yeah, 2.5 years ago, my dad wasn't doing too good, so I ended up moving in with them to help them out. And then it kind of, I was in between jobs at the same time. Like everything just kind of aligned, and it was just like, I was like, I'm not bad at this. Maybe we should give it a go, and I can be in the garage in case something needs to happen, fast. So it just kind of worked, and here we are.
Are you married?
No, I'm single. So yeah, it works out. I'm a single guy, no kids. Never been married. So
I was married once for 20 years, and I will never be married again. Not because I didn't have a wonderful mother of my child, but being single and being comfortable being alone is a wonderful thing.
It really is. It's pretty wild. I mean, I would say I'm alone, but
you did a life sentence, Siobhan.
I'm telling you, man. I remember there was an attorney that my dad used to work with who was like on his third marriage. He was not a very smart guy. And he said, "You know why divorces are so expensive, don't you?" And I was like, "No, why?" He's like, "Because they're worth it."
Worth it.
And I was like, "Yeah, you're gonna get taken for everything you've got." Clayton makes beautiful stuff. He forges and offers stainless knives too. We were looking at his Instagram earlier before he joined us, and I didn't know if you wanted to kind of walk us through. What's that?
Yeah, I got some stuff on the table here. I could always share that too. If you look at my YouTube, I got like 430 posts compared to my Instagram, where it's like 170 or something like that.
That just shows how out of the loop I am. Let me go to your YouTube.
Yeah,
how many knives a year you make?
My goofy face all over it. It's just I gotta see knives unless you watch this stuff. We got the store up there, so that goes to the website and stuff as well.
How many knives a year do you make?
Last year I did 153. This year it's been a little slower. I'm doing a lot of custom orders right now. Like I got like 5 Damascus custom orders that I'm working on. Hand forging it and stuff, making the steel, and forging the knife, then finishing the knife, and etching the knife, and coffee etching the knife, and all that stuff just takes time.
150 is crazy. That's pumping out a lot. As a single meeting operation.
Yeah, this year might be a little slower. My sister's in the shop with me. She does all the leather work and sheaths and internet stuff. I've been taking over and editing a lot of videos lately, so that's been, fun. But
when you edit videos, and I need to watch some of your content, but that's something I'm what call a YouTube hack. I don't know how to edit stuff, so I just turn on my iPhone and talk to myself about a knife. I researched the knife.
Yeah.
But
are there AI editors yet that you can just dump the file into?
Well, there's also people you can pay, like on farms, that you can send out your videos and they'll edit for you.
I use a program called Video IQ, and what it does is it'll help me title videos, and it'll help me modify a thumbnail and let me edit stuff. But what I like most about it is I'm big into the shorts game, and it'll take like one of my more popular videos and it'll cut it down into whatever size shorts I tell it to, and try to come up with little what do they call those, captions that show up that you can read on the screen that kind of tells what you're saying.
John's really into big shorts.
Shorts are weird. I'm telling you, man, shorts, now they're not performing like they used to at all. And Shane can attest to that, especially the lives. But for a while, shorts, and Shane's the one that told me about shorts. But shorts they help me grow, and I'm just now starting to get views like a channel my size on my longer content. I used to not think I ever would, because I thought I'd ruined it with shorts.
Jay on Let's Make a Knife.
That's my slogan.
So that is a slower process.
Yeah, that one I'm making. Shoot, I think I was making the knife I have in my hands right now. Actually,
I got seeds coming from overseas.
I love your delivery.
yeah, I'm high energy. I'm just a big goofball, really.
Well, people buy stuff they like, and I know I like to buy from people I like.
Yeah.
Do you know a guy named Colin McGuire? I don't know if you've ever crossed paths with him.
I haven't.
And you may not like him, but I think he's one of the neatest guys, and I've purchased 2 of his knives. But a lot of it, the designs are great, but a lot of it, he's just that guy. He's just like a lot of y'all are.
And I think that's a big part of it, man. It's like, it's a flooded market. Knives are everywhere. Why is someone going to buy a knife, like this from me?
Let me make you bigger for a second while you show that. Hold on a sec.
This is just like one of my personals that I just recently made. It's a Nitro V, the Grip Tech handle on it, G10 pins.
I love that.
But it's just like, my little EDC guy,
Is it 6 inches, 5.5? How big is that? Roughly. You don't have to measure it.
It's right here. Doesn't matter. It's 6 inches on the money.
I love that. What's it called? Do you call it something, or is it just your little knife?
I call it the Lemmy. So I got the Lemmy, the Caius. I started naming it the Motley. So I started naming my knives kind of after like bands. And
After bands. Lemmy, what was the second one you called out?
The Caius.
Who's that?
Caius was an old stoner rock band in the 90s.
Okay. I wasn't familiar with them.
And then they had a band called Slow Burn. It was before them. So I just named the mini version of my Caius. This is the Caius template. I don't have any right now on hand, but so I made a minier version of this. I call it Slow Burn, which is the band before them.
I love it.
Kind of doing.
I love your naming philosophy. Is this the Caius right here? Hold on, let me see what this is. Because I was looking. Let me share it. You have it on your Instagram page, don't you?
Yeah, I should. Yeah, there's a couple too that people tag me in. Yeah, that's one right there. I made that for EDC.
Clayton, John is like 3 or 4 decades behind that for stoner rock. So if you ever name a knife the Dead and it's really, really shitty, that would be perfect for him.
I was
I'll come up with a Wookiee model.
I was guilty of doing 63 Dead shows, and I'll tell you, there's something about being standing in the middle of Soldier Field, lost, tripping your brains out with 60,000 people. It's glorious.
It's something about that.
But yeah, I was Scotty. What's up, Sobeck Scooter?
What's up, Scooter?
I was but Widespread Panic was a bar band. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They do the jam band thing.
I saw them in Texas.
I used to see them at a little place called the Supper Club. I've seen them probably 160 times, but I love that kind of music. I used to. I don't go out and do the music stuff as much anymore. I'm big into Billy Strings now.
Yeah, so you like kind of jam band stuff.
Very much open-ended, loose, jammy stuff.
Because Billy Strings has like that kind of big following as well.
And let me tell you something, man. Billy Strings is I'm a guitar player by hack. Gary's a much better guitar player than I am, I'm sure, but Billy Strings is next level. I mean, he's on Stevie Ray Vaughan, Prince, Jimmy. I mean, he's going to be something.
Whoa. Don't be throwing Prince's name out there like that.
If he keeps on the level, he's a young man. Right now, Billy's a young guy. He's on Prince's 3rd album in age, and he's very talented. I don't think he'd ever say he's as good as Prince, but I'm just saying that he will be that.
Billy Strings compared to Prince?
Not now. I'm just saying, and I'm never saying that they're going to have the same sound. I'm just saying the same control and mastery of their instrument. There's certain people like Derek Trucks who can play more notes on a guitar than the frets are because he plays the intonations in between the frets with the slide.
Yeah.
So he can make his guitar sound totally different. And I'm telling you, man, Billy Strings is otherworldly.
Yeah. Check this one out. I just this is the first time I'm really seeing this pattern. I just heat treated this tonight and tempered it.
That's cool.
Looks sick.
What'd you mix up there? Is that 15 grand?
1084 and 15 in, and it's a mosaic pattern. It was my first try at mosaic.
I think you succeeded.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty pumped about it. And I've been wanting to see this thing for like 8 months now. I think I made it about 8 months ago, and just have been babying it. It's still got some a little bit of grinding to do, obviously the choil and everything, but yeah, I'm pretty pumped on seeing that because I'm gonna put a clear handle on it, and so you'll be able to see the pattern throughout. So I'm pretty pumped on this one.
That's cool.
I think that's beautiful.
I did a lot of forging today on my live. I did like a 4.5 hour live today, and I forged out I think we ended up forging out like 8 things, something like that.
See, I need to. That's the kind of stuff, and I always miss Shane's lives. But I love just sitting back and watching. I don't pay attention to it because I don't understand it. But I like watching like very good knife company who make knives or assemble them.
Yeah.
Gary, do you ever do that? You don't do much video of your assembly and getting stuff out, do you?
I haven't. I probably should. I certainly could.
I've watched a few of your videos before, like back a few months ago.
Cool.
Well, I just think for people like
I just
us
straightened, let's see, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90. Just straightened about 100 blades.
and we've got it on film. I will edit it.
That's
and
kind of
show
like
it.
a live.
I was watching you earlier straightening them, and that's before heat treat.
Yeah.
Gary,
The laser gives them a little bit of a bow. So it's a lot easier to pull out before they're heat treated.
What's your tolerance on the laser?
Pretty tight.
Yeah.
Pretty tight. A few thousandths.
You do it in house?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a cheap laser.
Cheap laser?
Yeah. I mean, it's like 20 grand.
Yeah.
But it works quite well. It's easier to cut stainless, believe it or not, it seems.
Man, I've noticed that just on the bandsaw, like doing a stock removal, because I do stock removal as well. But I feel like it's easier to cut stainless than it is to cut like some other stuff, some other steels.
Yeah, the carbon behaves a little differently under the laser. But that's been a game changer. I'm stock removal and semi-production. I'm trying to be a production company.
Yeah, I noticed that. You got that one. I think you got a few, right? I'm not gonna be like I know anything.
I think you have 6, Gary.
Counting
the medium, or is
it depends how you want to count a model. Like, if it's so, I have a bushcraft knife that I've done a fair amount of, but we've been grinding those all by hand.
Yeah.
But other models I send out to have ground to thickness, and then bevel ground. Then they come back, I laser them and sharpen them. That's the PG series.
Yeah.
And that's more the production. But like you can see here, like I cut it out in my shop. It came in as a sheet of steel. I cut it out. I straightened it once. When it comes back from heat treat, I'll check it again and straighten it again.
Yeah.
So
how do you straighten after heat treat? Do you use the carbide hammer?
Carbide hammer, yeah. Yeah. Yep. And I've
What's
got
your average on cracking. You had any issues with that? I had one the other. I had one.
Every once in a while. Pretty rare. I did get a piece of Magna Cut caught in my finger for about 2 years until I dug it out. Because a piece chipped off the corner and flew into my finger.
Just impaled you?
Yeah, it's a little chunk. Like, I mean, it wasn't super little, but it's a pretty small chunk, and it was just there. And finally, I worked it out. I actually got it out with a magnet. Believe it or not. Yeah.
Really?
I've done that to my eye before.
Edgy, thank you, brother. And he has a question for Clayton, and then I got to go back to a question for Gary. But I'm gonna give Edgy a quick hug. Y'all sit tight. There.
Just that.
Clayton, if you make Pro Cut Damascus, I'd be interested.
Yeah, the problem is, can you get it? I mean, where are you buying Pro Cut right now? Pops is out, and I don't know any other suppliers that are carrying it right now.
Pops is out of it?
Pops has been out of it for like 2-3 months now.
I agree.
And it happens. I've heard it happens around Blade Show. A lot of steels will get like just eaten up. But I've been wanting to do a Pro Cut and 80 CRV2 Damascus, but I just haven't been able to get my hands on any Pro Cut. I got someone that's waiting on an order for Pro Cut, and last time I checked last week, they didn't have any out of stock.
Are you going to Blade, Clayton?
I am going to be there, yeah. I'm just hanging out, though. I'm just going to have a good time,
Yeah,
shake hands, and see it. I've never been.
They may, Plops may have some at the table, but
And they
Shane
might
also
be hoarding it for that reason.
right.
Too.
Shane also has some too, stored away.
Yeah. Oh, really?
He's probably freaking out right now. There was a question for Gary about how he did his handles, and I know he's got a story for that, and I want to find the question. Where was it?
Shane didn't buy like bulk tonnage of it, but he's got a couple extra sticks laying around.
Yeah, and to make what you probably need, what you probably just need a couple little, I say little chunks, but you probably need a couple little pieces to, because you mix it all together, right?
Yeah, I usually, 2 feet usually is where I start. I mean, lately I've been going even bigger than that. I'll cut up like a 4-foot bar into 4 6-inch pieces and start, because you can start your most patterns off, by forge welding, a billet out, and then you can stack that and then start things. There's all kinds of ways of stacking. Like I got, like this one I just finished up. This was like my 500 giveaway knife, so I gave this one away.
Oh, that's got a neat pattern.
It's got wax on it right now. You're gonna wipe it off too, but yeah, just finished that one up. We cast. I did most of it live. I casted this out of copper pennies and stuff, and it's Wingate wood.
You did one not long ago that I saw you show off. It was a full integral. That was impressive.
Yeah, I did that one. That one just left today. I had I read coffee etch that thing like 8 times, and it drove me crazy. I think it was 7 actually, but it just wasn't. Every time it's just like one little spot would be just not the way I wanted it, and I have to pull it all off and redo it.
So, question for you: being of the type that you are, as far as the forging route, more than stock removal, you can do both, but more than stock removal. Mm-hmm. What or who inspired you to go down that route? And do you have any like people that you follow for that as like mentors or people that you're, look up to?
Yeah, man. I don't know what really got me into the Damascus stuff. I just really wanted to learn it. Me and my brother forged a knife in 2013. That's where it all started, with a crowbar and a settling torch and a Harbor Freight anvil and a framing hammer. That's just kind of how where the inspiration came from. And then as it grew, I didn't have, the proper setup to swinging a hammer to make Damascus. If you've ever done it, is a nightmare. But I was getting into it, and I was like, man, I want to make a press, So I made a press last June, actually. So I don't even think I've been doing Damascus really for even a year yet.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But I don't know. I got a friend out in California. He shared a lot of knowledge. So like a Richard Patterson and who's his name? Greco Mamasi. I don't know if y'all have heard of them, but like their Damascus is like true inspirational stuff, to be honest.
Gotcha.
Gary, how do you assemble your handle scales to answer Conga Blaze's question? And I know
What's the question?
How do you assemble your handle scales? I would just say screw on, but I know you got a way that you describe how your choices are. And
it's a stainless steel standoff is what it's called, a 1/4-inch standoff with an 832 screw. And I'm using 832 what do they call it, cap head screws.
Something similar to like that. Not the same, obviously, but do you have that kind of insert in the middle?
It's the standoff is a barrel with it threaded through the middle.
Yeah, that's what your thread and your screw. Kind of yeah.
I don't glue any knives together anymore.
Yeah,
I stopped doing it. Even if I'm going to use like fancy material, I'll do that. Although I was looking at getting some counterbore bits to accommodate it, and $60 to have them custom made. You got to buy 10.
Yeah.
It's just like.
All right, so are you on the outside of the scale then?
What's that?
You're on the outside of the scale?
Yeah. Well, like if I do one in wood and shape it myself. I mean, most times they're CNC'd and they come, or I 3D, and then I also do 3D printed scales in addition for the actual scale, not just prototype.
Yeah, gotcha.
I think some material looks better without hardware, though. I think it lends itself to being either pinned and or just completely glued and blind on, just because of the material so beautiful itself.
Yeah, I mean, certainly aesthetically that can be nicer. Functionally, though,
right,
it's hard to beat. And like, and one of the other things is sometimes I use some pretty thin blade stock. Like I use like 60,000, 70,000 on my chef's knives. If you glue on scales to 70,000 blade stock full tang, and you put side pressure on that, you'll crack that glue really easily.
So that blade will flex so easy, right?
Yeah, the blade will flex and it'll stretch away from the handle material.
Yeah,
I was going to show you.
Counterboard are not cheap, especially when you get in all different sizes too.
Corby's help with that if you use those, because that's a mechanical connection.
If you ever wanted to pick somebody's brain, this guy's a buddy of mine. His name's Colin McGuire. He's up in Maine, and he's a forger.
Heck yeah.
And I bought one of his knives that's not Damascus because I'm not, but his specialty is some of these very unique Damascus patterns. And what I find interesting are not these pictures as much, but when you get back to his shop, they get to his shop. He'll show like he'll have 4 little chunks. That's Colin.
Okay.
And if you ever have a question, that's his little forge.
Nice.
But then he'll have like 4 little pieces of metal because I don't, again, understand this stuff like y'all do.
Yeah.
This is a knife I bought from him, an EDW,
nice.
an S30V that's not Damascus. It's just he does beautiful hand work.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the scales.
And you know what? I don't like the shadow box scales. And do you know these are upcharged and they're more desirable?
Well, it's harder to do, I'd imagine, getting it perfectly symmetrical.
And to me, they don't feel comfortable.
I would imagine it would be more spine, if you're grabbing, or that tang, I should say.
But this cat is very, very humble. I mean, every time I go to see him at every blade show, because he used to come to the local ones too. I was trying to find this picture of these. There you go.
Yeah.
That's how it starts for him. And his equipment is all very ancient. Is that the right word?
Uh-huh.
But look at that tool.
Ancient, crude, maybe?
Right. Yeah.
Curious about some of these patterns. Like that twisted, he had 4-layer twist. I mean, like that is insane.
And like I said, I'll be happy to put you in touch.
I'd love to.
First thing I'll do is I'll send you his IG so you can just check out his stuff. But like I say, this is a guy that told me at Blade Show, I think Shane might have been with me, that, if I don't share what I've learned and the mistakes that I've made, I'm not doing. I think he's a guild member. I think they believe that they just have to pass on that knowledge. He's not a gatekeeper.
Yeah, I'm not a gatekeeper either. I'm not going to publicly display it. But if you personally reach out to me and ask for advice, I'm going to share everything I have. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those, but I do believe you got to kind of ask for help. And, you kind of have to put yourself out there a little bit to learn,
I agree.
It's my favorite thing about the community.
Effort. You've got to make the effort to go out there and look at that.
Yeah, that's I've been wanting to do some. I have some stuff like that kind of. I've been wanting to try a pattern like that. So
do you basically
doing that? He's
taking bend it while it's hot? Or are you just bending it and twisting it while it's hot?
So if you look right there, see right there, look past the finger choil, and then you see that that point.
Yep.
Now, if you look really closely, you can kind of see a line, right?
Yeah.
Those are 1, 2, 3. That's 4 separate pieces, forged welded together in a stack, and then you cut a slice off of that, and then forged the knife out of it. So kind of like I got a piece right here. Let's see if I can find it. I'll show you.
I'm sorry to bore you other guys. I just find this stuff fascinating, and
That's right here.
Not boring at all.
I gotta, so say you took that, right? And I just had this kind of pattern going all the way through. And then I took this and cut it into 4 pieces and flipped them around so that it would move like that. And then you forge all that together, and then you can cut a slice off that piece and forge a knife out of it.
And that's how you get your star patterns and stuff like that. Some of those more intricate patterns.
Yeah, like this right here, it looks kind of crappy right now because it hasn't been heat treated or anything, but it'll change and get. But this is 4 twisted bars alternating like left or right, and then a left and a right twist stacked on top and then forward weld back together. But like,
I'm a big fan of that dense twist.
Yeah, so I love doing twist. Twist is like my favorite, but like, see on this one, you can even see it on. If I could point it out to you, you could see the seam right there. Let's see that seam right there. The same thing like he did. This was a 4 stack.
So you put that together 4 pieces long ways?
Yeah. Well, I made the bar right, and then I cut it up into 4 pieces, and then I forge weld that together. And then I cut a hunk off of it and then forge a knife out of it, which I didn't have enough steel. That's what I wanted. So yeah, this was 1 solid bar all the way through, had that middle pattern in it. And then
it's kind of like making a Jello mold out of metal with different.
Yeah, kind of. Like what I compare it to is like, you remember the candy that you can get that has like the designs in the middle?
Yeah, I make some of that.
Yeah.
Hey, Gary.
Clayton, do you watch any content like on this stuff?
On knife making?
What, just on like forging and stuff in general? Like there's some pretty cool guys out there doing some neat stuff.
Every night.
Okay.
Night. Yeah,
one that's becoming more and more popular, I think he's underrated, is Jesse Hugh.
Yeah. Jesse Hugh, he's good.
Obviously Kyle
Royer. Yeah, Jesse Hugh hasn't posted a video in like 3 months. Something like that.
Yeah.
But then who else? I watched this guy JP, man. I really like this guy JP, and like he's just like, if you watch his channel, he just goes for it, man. Like he doesn't really care, and he's just a down to earth guy. He's like just got a nice calm voice, and he just does whatever he wants, and he clearly says like, I just do this, if you want to support the channel, do this, buy this nice. He doesn't really monetize his channel. I don't think he like doesn't do any lives. He doesn't do anything crazy. And maybe he monetizes. I don't know. I have premium, but like you can't join his channel, so I don't know if he has it. You know what I mean? But
yeah, he would have memberships if he was probably monetized.
Exactly.
I think he turn those on though.
But he has like 83,000 followers, or maybe more, almost 90,000, and he just makes cool stuff, and he's just a cool guy. He seems like one of those people that'd be really cool if you just met him. He'd just be really chill.
Well,
there's a guy in Canada that's really good.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, bud.
There's a guy out of Canada that's really good. I don't know if you've seen that. JVB Blades.
JVB. Sounds familiar.
He's done some like full integrals with like dovetail in handles, like some crazy stuff.
Yeah, there's a guy Yako in Canada.
Yeah, but that JVB.
Cool, he's really nice guy. I've talked to him a few times on Instagram, and I have my buddy out in California is friends with him, talks to him all the time. He's told me, he's like, reach out if you ever need any help.
Hey Gary, Edgy shot you a DM. Next time you get a chance, take a peek in your IG. Shane, he didn't come up here and join us tonight, but I think he's worn out.
Yeah,
I saw that. I saw that. I thank you, Shane. I'll have to look and see if those diameters work out. It was on a counterbore.
I think that's so cool that you guys, because I brag about this. It's such an underachievement, but it's one of my greatest engineering marvels. I replaced a carburetor on my snapper mower, and I watched YouTube videos to realize the $13 part carburetor I needed to order. And I was able to fix it. And I'm not handy. I can't do stuff like that. You guys are like alchemists to me when I watch the stuff that y'all can do, or at least plan to do. My brain doesn't work that way. But after watching a video a couple of times, I was able to do something that I would have never thought I had the ability to do. No, it wasn't that a surgical of a job, but for me, it was, you know, it was pushing my skill limit. And I flew through it because I'd watched the video so many times. And the right creator can make a difference in how easy or more, how much more easily that information transfers in terms of a learn.
Yeah. I definitely want to do some more like how-to videos. You know, I did like a how-to video of like building a waterfall platen because I needed one for the last integral I did. But I would like to do some more like, you know, how do you, what do you want to make? You know, how to make a Damascus. Let's just do it, you know. And kind of over, like maybe voice over it, but I'm more like in the moment kind of guy, you know. It's hard for me. I'll stumble on my words if I'm trying to voice over on stuff usually. But
do you have a background in editing and stuff like that, or do you just voice over because the way that you have to film it's kind of broken up?
I don't do any voiceovers. I do lives. I'll just go live and forward.
That's all you need to do, and you don't.
You know, and it's like I'm talking to you and telling you how to do it, and just I mean, it's kind of like I learned by watching. So
yeah, and your audience will too. And if you misspeak, people tend to forgive you. I have people correct me in comments all the time, and I just come back, dude, thanks for catching it. I'll just totally forget what I'm talking about sometimes.
Yeah, that's knife reviews, man. I could dub myself the worst knife reviewer guy. You know, and I just have fun with knife reviews, and it teaches me more about knives. You know, and I barely could flick a knife before I started YouTube. You know,
I couldn't. I'll tell you who taught me to flick a knife was Bearded Gear. I don't know if you remember him. He used to be a YouTuber, and then he started Lift Concepts, and now he just does video work for his wife, who's an influencer in another field. But watching his video, he did a video on how to middle finger flick a Spyderco Shaman. And his video was so instructional that I was able to replicate his finger movements and do it. That was the first knife I was able to finger flick.
It's wild, isn't it? How it like just clicked and you're like, whoa.
It clicked, and you know, some knives are harder than others, but I find that content, and the one I like is at Outdoor 55, the guy that does all the sharpening and the blade stuff.
Yeah,
Gerald. Yeah, Gerald.
No, not Gerald. Sorry, that's the other one, Alex.
Yeah, his content, even for somebody who's not a good sharpener like me, I find it calming. I find his delivery very believable. He seems credible, and he's got to be killing it. I met him at Blade Show last year, just as awkwardly autistic in person as he is online. And that's the beautiful thing about Blade Show. If you're there, I'll get to meet you, and I'll walk you over to Colin's table and introduce you to him. Super nice guy. But the great thing about that is you do have access to so many good people. If you scope it out, look at the different type of stuff or tables you want to go to, you can get a lot more than just a few products or brochures. You can get some knowledge that you can leave that show with and have great return just from those conversations.
I mean, not to be like, not in like a rude kind of way, but like I'm going there for like business, you know. It's like it's going to be a place to like network, meet people to talk to. I'm meeting Richard Patterson. I don't know who that is, but he's an amazing man of metal, if you will. He can really manipulate the steel. So I'm really excited because when I'm doing a project for charity with him, and I just got a knife sent to me from Brazil, and I'm doing the handle on it, and then I'm gonna give him the handle that I make. It's like a wall style handle, and I'm gonna give him the handle and give him the knife at Blade Show. But like just to meet him, somebody I like looked up to for years, you know, looked at his work, and like now I'm like talking to him on Instagram, you know, FaceTiming, and he's giving me some tips and stuff here and there. And it's been pretty cool. So I'm excited to meet people like that at Blade Show, be able to connect.
I've never been there as someone selling knives because I think that's a different. I hang out with those people because they're my friends too. But I went there thinking I would be all about the knives back in 2022. And I learned real quick it was the people you meet, because some of the people that make the knives you like, you don't want to meet your heroes because there are a few of them that are just not warm, fuzzy people.
Yeah.
And there's some out there that are just so overly kind. One that y'all might have had a bad experience with, but I had a short conversation with him. Somebody like Gavin Hawk, who makes the Deadlock. Just humble, nice, appreciative. Gave me a shirt, even though he knows I'll never be able to buy one of his knives. And I even said, give that to somebody who, who can appreciate it. And he goes, no, man, I want you to have it. Just really nice people. B Shady, you do need some Creeley in your life. And I need to drop that link in there because he's always upgrading or updating his store. That's still the best place to get your blades, right? The store? Gary?
Yeah, I mean, the dealers are good too. I mean, sometimes they'll have stuff that I don't have in the store.
And that's primarily DLT, River's Edge, and
DLT, Knife Center, Friedenlock. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple. Edgeworks sometimes has some.
DLT, Friedenlock, and Knife Center.
Whoa. Hey, Richard. Long time no see, buddy.
What's up, brother? The Roman Gnome. Richard is my buddy from a couple of states over to the left of me, and they spend a great deal of their time in an RV seeing beautiful parks.
That's nice. That was a dream at one point in my life.
Lots of use for knives on RVs.
And you know what's interesting about Richard is a fixed blade only guy. He has a few folders, but we spent a week. He hung out here for about a week. They parked out at my yard, and when they got started, and we were just going through each other's knives. And he's just not a folder guy. He carries, I'd say 95% of his knives scout carry, but he's got a great collection of fixed blades. He's the one that turned me on to wax wing designs. And then I think I told Gary, this guy, Isaac, I don't know his last name, a guy who just happened to come through the local knife store I do part-time with, had both a Mako and a Minnow on him. I'm surprised he hasn't shown up in one of these lives before. And he might have, and he just has a different screen name.
Hey guys, I'm gonna jump out. I'm gonna go get some food.
Get some food, brother.
What are you eating?
Shady.
Crappy McDonald's, probably.
I'm going to throw you another one because I know where there are a couple of. Are you looking for Minnows or Makos? Let me go back to
the Minnow. That was the one.
Okay, let me go back to my search.
I gotta go scrape some glass and eat some food. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Maybe I'll see you in a little while at said faction. All right, that one's out of stock at DLT. Got a Knife Center.
Clayton, what do you think majority of your sales are? Are they more like smaller fixed blades, like EDC stuff, or are they more larger bushcraft camp?
Man, it's kind of lately. It's been the smaller fixed blades. I don't know. This one's a pretty good model, but it changes, man. It's ebbs and flows, really. I don't know. The Motley is a big one right now, and then but before the other small knives, these were like my smallest I offered, and these are all templates, so they're all rusty and crusty. Yeah.
But Shade, you find it on Knife Center? I found 2 on Knife Center.
But at one time it was these. One time it was this one, and that one sold a bunch. But lately it's been these smaller guys have been kind of going pretty good, and maybe it's because I've been pushing them a little harder. I just think they're kind of fun to make, and I can kind of make them more affordable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
An affordable handmade knife is still expensive, I guess. But
it's relative.
It's a craft. There's a difference. You're not buying a run-of-the-mill.
What's this John Gray Custom? That looks like a different blade color.
That's a titanium. I cut that out for him, and he finished it off. It's a sort of hardened titanium.
I gotcha. Great titanium Z.
I've heard about that titanium.
And then here is a Minnow in MagnaCut. Let's see if, like DLT.
This one is going to be a blade show for sale. This one does not have a home yet. I'll wait till you're done, John.
Yeah, let me quit sharing. Hold on.
You're fine. No,
I got it right here. I just had to get it pulled up. Let me make you big. Oh, who did the etching on the sheath?
that's Terry's sheath.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Did you stamp that or did you laser it?
Crewwear, thug.
I gotta cut him a couple of those out. I think I have the drawing done. I think.
Yeah, that's a
Terry, you've come a long way, baby. He's
I
come
really
a long
like
way,
that
baby.
sheath design.
I do too. You know what makes a great sheath design are those grommets. Having so many being so placed so close together because you can use either a deep concealment clip if you're a clip guy.
Yeah.
Or you can use a there are two Magna Cuts at DLT, I guess you saw, B Shady. But they're both Magna Cut. I got you. Checking IG.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah, my sister's been making sheaths, and we kind of met in the middle. You know, we were doing some things, and we kind of got into the Kydex world, which was kind of, I think, inevitable. But at one point, we were just basically giving a leather sheath with every knife and not getting anything off of it, which is a horrible business plan. But she's been making this kind of design right here, where you can have your clip, you know, if you want to put a clip on it, or a soft loop so you can scout carry it. But I've been digging this style lately.
Yes.
Hey, Gary, is Safe and Lock Store a dealer?
Yeah, that's Freight and Lock.
Freight and Lock. Okay, gotcha.
Yes. Although the funny thing is, compared to all my other dealers, I get direct communications, and they have people that don't believe that they're a legitimate dealer. It's the strangest thing.
Yeah, their website's a little antiquated, but they're a great company, though.
Yeah, it's just like I'll get emails. Are they actually? Is that a legit knife? I'm like, yes, it's a legit knife.
Kevin Smith. And that's 1931 Leatherworks. So few people take the time to do that. Several that do, it makes all the difference in the world. Because me personally, I love these deep concealment carry clips. I also have a bunch of ulti clips, but they're not, to me, ulti clips are bigger, they're more bulky, and they rust, where these don't seem to. But these hole placements are so much more limiting. And what I love about Gary's and TKL sheaths is they've got the little channels. So you've got a lot of flexibility on what you can mount there, and the retention is next level.
Kydex has been a journey.
A pain in the ass.
Oh, and Shane can talk to you about that. I mean,
you know, I'm getting it. You know, I made this one the other night. You know, I think that's pretty good.
That sounds good.
But you know, it's just getting to this level of making Kydex. You know, you don't think it's going to be, and I still think it's like too big in here for me. But you know, it holds a knife and it goes in and out. It's just hard figuring out that spacing of it, not scratching the hell out of your blade. You know,
right? I'll tell you a good live to watch. And Shane, we stopped and talked to Tim. He owns a company called Carry Development. He makes some little knives. And he was telling Shane that he bought an Amazon t-shirt press and a Kydex form. And that's what he does all of his Kydex with. And he makes some nice sheaths. But if you watch Very Good Knife Company, he goes live a couple times a week, and he'll have a table of like 9 or 10 knives. And depending on what live you catch, one of them will be finishing work where he spends about half the live making the sheaths. And it's fascinating how fast he does it. And it's a dangerous tool because he uses a router, if I'm not mistaken, to cut down the waste around those, what do you call them, rivets? the rivets, and he pops those in with the drill press. But he's got a really systemized way of doing it. And his sheaths,
he's gonna lose a digit one day the way he does those.
He talks about it, but this is what one of this is what one of his.
He's using a flush trim bit, but it's on a table going up when there's no guard. He's just literally, his fingers are right here and the blade's right there. And he's just moving it around. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I've seen guys do that with like their handles. Like they'll take like the handle of the knife and like run it around and give it that. I'm like, oh my God. Dude. Like,
he says it's the
spinning
scariest.
30,000 RPMs.
Yeah, routers are no joke. You know, you think they're not really that dangerous of a tool, but then they are like, I've seen guys like drop it and go catch it, and it just ate. I mean, just ate their hand.
Oh, and the way it
routers are the most dangerous tool in the woodworking shop by far.
It's like a slack-jawed piranha the way it comes down.
The buffing wheel, I think, in a knife shop is the most dangerous tool. I literally have like thoughts of it like just slipping into my body. What am I going to do?
Like throwing a projectile at you at that speed.
I mean, I've had one stick in the wall of the grinder before. I mean, I've had like wild things happen, and thank God nothing bad has happened.
Edgy said he just made his first Kydex sheath snap after buying the T-shirt press at Amazon. That I guess he uses that to heat up the sheets of Kydex.
Yeah, you put it in there and you just close it down. And I was watching Northern Edge, I think it's the guy. He was doing it yesterday on live, and he's doing like 360.
Congratulations on your minnow, buddy.
Clayton, that reminds me, there was a guy, I can't remember who it was, speaking about buffers. He actually built a platform to stand behind, but it was still in front of his buffer, between him and the buffer. And he was using body plate armor on it. So if it did spit back.
I mean, that thing's spinning so fast. And it grabs, and when it grabs it, man, you get like, I've had it whip around like that and come by my face with a sharp knife, or not even sharp, but I mean, even if like I'm taking my knives almost to zero most of the time. So I mean, they'll still cut you if they hit you hard enough. You know?
Yeah. Oh, it's a projectile at that point.
Yeah.
There's a video, Brass Brigade, Jason Grant's making a little knife, and it catches and it hits one of those big 55-gallon hard plastic trash cans and just flies off it. So it goes one way and then it goes just as fast the other way.
What was the guy you were telling me just now about that does the Kydex lives?
Let me show you. Very good knife company. Let me pull up his page. I'll just share it with you.
Write it down so I can look it up later.
And I'm not sure who that is, but Terry just posted a video on some guy doing a class on it too.
Even better. Hey, Kyle, how close are we to said faction?
We got about 15 minutes, so we'll probably give another 5 or 6 minutes to wrap it up here.
All right, and what I'm going to do for you is drop this link, and all you got to do, because it's really easy to find, is just go. But I'm going to try to find you the actual video that I thought was eye-opening, where he shoots them all vertical. But if you look at his lives, they're just all shop lives. He's got grinding blades and then finish grinding, finish handles. That's scary. Sheath sharpening and more. Here we go.
Yeah, I just got it on my. Got it. I'm just going to go ahead and subscribe.
I don't know if you'll be able to click on a link, but I'm going to put a link in the chat.
Just copied and pasted it. I got it. I just subscribed to the channel.
All right, check. This is actually him doing sheaths. So this is save you from Paul. He is a pimp. I need to have him back. But that one right there is one of his where he's showing how he finishes out his sheaths. And the other thing is that I was surprised of, he has 2 knives that don't look identical that he makes one sheath for. And then he uses a heat gun to make the modifications between the 2 knives. And he does his thumb ramp real neatly with the heat gun too. He's just got some little tricks. I don't know if it's the right way. Take care, Shady.
If it works, is it the wrong way?
No. And Gary, Big Shady just picked up one of your knives from Freydenlock. He's stoked. I think he got the last Magnamax Mini on the market. Minnow.
Gentlemen, it's been fun, but I'm going to go grab some food before said faction. So,
We're
Clayton, good having you on.
Yeah, man, thank you. I appreciate it. It's nice hanging out with you guys. Thanks
And
for giving me the
Clayton, this isn't a one-time thing. You're welcome to stop in, because what we do is I usually start the live around 8. I say 8:15, but since said faction, we're kind of like the pre-show to those guys. I always get off at a courtesy around the time they're starting so people can grab a water. Take care, Kyle. See you, brother. But Gary, do you have any parting words for these lovely people? I appreciate you hanging with us tonight.
Well, I'm glad I could spend a little bit of time. I've been getting over some sickness, so being sick is not fun, turns out.
I haven't said the S word yet, but I'm not feeling
But
good.
no parting words. Just, yeah, I'm almost out of Magnamax minnows. I think I am, actually. Well, I do have a few. You got to save a little bit for Blade, you know?
Absolutely. And that's another person I want you to meet. We'll go by Gary's table too, Clayton, because
For
we'll
sure,
rally
yeah,
up
like
one
me in
day.
person.
But guys,
Yeah.
do me a favor. Thank all of y'all for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I always ask, you don't have to, it's not required, but please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Keep an eye out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for one another. Go forward with love in your heart and choose debate, not hate. I love you guys. Peace.